Chapter 61 Malaga Twins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Luo. Cut to the middle. Single sword. Single sword. Ye Luo, Ye Luo, Ye Luo, Ye Luo. In the commentary booth, the commentators stared at the court with staring eyes. In their eyes, Ye Luo took the ball and rushed towards the penalty area. Valencia was too high up, and they didn't expect Malaga's counterattack to be so resolute, so sharp, and so fast. Demichelis made a long pass, Baptista protected the ball and divided the ball. Isco caught the ball to attract the defense and then sent a second pass to release Ye Luo's speed. That is, a three-legged pass in a few seconds. The situation on the field developed from Valencia's siege to Ye Luo facing the goalkeeper alone. The fans at the Mestalla Stadium booed extremely sharply. Now the boos became more and more desperate as Ye Luo rushed to the middle. Pellegrini, who had been standing on the sidelines, clenched his fists, his eyes full of expectation. That's it, that's it, that's it. The power of this counterattack system should be like this. The tridents in the front court complement each other, especially with a sharp knife like Ye Luo. The power used to fight back is too great. As long as there is a chance, Ye Luo can pierce any opponent's weak defense. Fight back. Fight back. Fight back. Like a gust of wind, Ye Luo quickly reached the front of the restricted area. Emery on the sidelines jumped up from his seat in shock before his but was hot. He stared at the field dumbfounded. 3 passes broke through Valencia's siege in the midfield. Malaga's counterattack system is beginning to take shape. It made Emery's scalp tingle, and a huge wave set off in his heart. Baptista, Isco, the most important is why Ye Luo is a sharp knife. Such a front-court counterattack trident, as long as there is a chance, it is very likely to pierce any line of defense in the world. Malaga is by no means a team that only relies on Ye Luo to win by 1 point in the first half of the schedule. They now have a very daunting counterattack system. Their operations in this winter transfer window, what a success. Fists clenched, Emery can now only count on Valencia goalkeeper Moya to do something. Yellow dribbles too fast. Even Valencia's defender Alba, who is the fastest chasing back, can only follow his ass to eat ashes. Valencia's starting goalkeeper Moya bit the bullet and left the goal line to attack. Of course he knew that Ye Luo was very good at passing the goalkeeper to push the empty goal. So this time he kept his center of gravity very low, ready to guard against Ye Luo's breakthrough. However, at the moment when he lowered his center of gravity, Ye Luo, who was running at high speed with the ball, swung the ball with a small swing of his right calf, and the football flew into the air. The speed was not fast, but it easily flew over Moya's head and headed towards the goal. Fly away. Ye Luo. Shot. Accompanied by the voice of the narrator, the trajectory of the football soaring into the air is like the baton of the conductor of the symphony orchestra. With the rise of the parabola, the decibels of the boos at the Mestalla Stadium are also louder. While reaching the apex, the decibels of booing also reach the peak. When the football falls, the decibel level of boos is also dropping. The eyes of the Valencia fans ranged from anticipation, to anger, to despair. The change was completed in this short moment. This is probably a performance that any actor with superb acting skills cannot complete. Everyone is the protagonist of their own life. Every Valencia fan, when the football falls into the net, there is only one expression left: open mouth, dumbfounded. Their team was besieging their opponents for the first few seconds, but seconds later, the football was bouncing inside their goal. The score on the big screen in the stadium changed at this moment: 0-1. The home team is at the front and the visiting team is at the back. Malaga in the away game is ahead. Go! Beautiful. Beautiful counterattack. Beautiful goal. Ye Luo. Ye Luo volleyed and scored. Malaga took the lead away. Ye Luo's ability to seize opportunities is too strong. Give it a go. But this time, I also want to praise Baptista and Isco's performance. Their appearance obviously shared a lot of Ye Luo's pressure. Wonderful counterattack, wonderful goal. The commentators shouted. Ye Luo, who picked the ball into the goal, ran to the sidelines after confirming that the goal was valid, and pointed to Isco, who assisted him, and let Isco, who was equally excited, come up to celebrate the goal together. Isco had already rushed up, and he stretched out his hand and threw himself at Ye Luo. The two embraced passionately. Beautiful pass. Brilliant shot. The two exchanged blows, then they put their shoulders on each other and rushed to the visiting team stands on the side of the goal. Amidst the cheers of the fans of the visiting team, the two clenched their fists and cheered for their own fans. At the same time, more Malaga players rushed forward and joined the celebration. Seeing this scene, Zhang Jun couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Ye Luo's one-handed ball handling is very calm, and the previous dribbling speed is also very fast, but the Spanish genius midfielder Isco's pass is also impeccable. The few new players who came here performed well, especially Isco. Maybe after the game, the newspapers in Spain will call Isco and Ye Luo the twin stars of Malaga. Zhang Jun was right, Isco is a Spanish player, so he will naturally be supported by Spanish newspapers. After all, it's not just the British media that brag about their own country's young talent, it's the same for media all over the world, and now in Malaga's counterattack system, Isco's ability to pass the threatening ball is indeed a very important part. With Isco, Ye Luo can concentrate on running and catching the ball to torture the opponent's defender and goalkeeper. While the Malaga players celebrate, the Valencia players were a little dazed. They haven't even reacted yet. The gate of his own house was breached by the opponent's counterattack. A quick counterattack hit the heads of the Valencia players like a sap, make them dizzy and see stars, especially Soldado. When the camera showed him, the Spanish center had his hands on his hips. With a look of helplessness on his face, because he didn't see how the ball was scored at all. How come Valencia was on the offensive 1 second, and the team conceded the ball the next second? His blank expression made the Spanish commentator shake his head. Just like this, how can I lick Blanca? Whoever is Blanca must like a little fresh meat like Ye Luo. Fortunately, Emery is a very capable head coach. At the critical moment, he still made key instructions. He took Mata and explained quickly. After Mata came on the field, he passed Emery's latest instructions to the players on the field. Steady, control the game first, don't rush to attack. After this arrangement, the game scene became very dull. Valencia had most of the possession, but not many shots. They played a game of possession on the pitch, the quality of possession that characterizes many Spanish teams. The same goes for Valencia, and Malaga, who led by 1 goal, did not rush up to grab the ball back, but continued to defend the defense and wait for the opportunity to counterattack. After Ye Luo scored a goal in the first half, the game passed away in such a dull and even drowsy rhythm. Announcement of the launch, received the editor's notice. It will be on the shelves at, frowny-face, noon on Friday. If friends who pass by think that the author's writing is not bad, please subscribe here boldly, and the follow-up will be more exciting. End of this chapter. Chapter 62. The twin stars pass shots to each other, and Malaga seals the victory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The intermission time passed in the mood of anticipation or suffering. Players from both sides returned to the field. Neither team made substitution adjustments. After all, Valencia is only 1 goal behind, and Malaga is in the lead, so naturally there is no need to change. At the beginning of the second half of the game, Valencia began to strengthen the attack on the wing, especially the attack on Mata's side. Joaquin also moved closer to Mata's side. It seems that Emery intends to tear apart Malaga's defense by attacking one side. However, Malaga has also prepared for this. Pellegrini certainly knows which side Valencia's offensive side is on. Mata is on the winger position, but he is not a typical winger, but a players of the side midfielder type that have appeared in recent years, since the tactical system of modern football has developed to rhythm, pressing intensity, and game speed have become faster and faster. The competition between the two sides at the front of the penalty area was very fierce, and the defense was also very tight. This makes the traditional classical type of attacking midfielder lose the living space. Many teams have made changes in response to this situation. The more classic change is to put the front waist back. It can also be said to be the back of the organization core. The competition for the position of the front midfielder is fierce, and the defensive density is too high, so put the organization core on the back midfielder. Typical cases include players such as Pirlo and Javi Alonso. Nowadays, many teams playing a double midfielder system usually arrange a full-time defensive midfielder, a pass master who is responsible for playing the ball in the backcourt. For example, the combination of Khedira and Javi Alonso in Real Madrid, Pirlo and Gattuso in AC Milan are all classics. but in addition to the idea of putting the core of the playmaker on the midfielder, there is another way of thinking is to put the playmaker-type player on the wing, and let a player who is good at organizing offense receive the ball and instigate the attack on the wing. In this regard, Juan Mata and his former teammate David Silva, who has now moved to Manchester City, can be regarded as relatively successful side midfielders. After David Silva's transfer and departure, Valencia's offensive organization will rely more on Mata, so this season's Valencia's offense appears to be very right-leaning. When Pellegrini arranged the defensive tasks of this game, he paid more attention to the right side of the opponent's offense and the left side of his own defense, plus now Malaga is in the lead. Malaga, who only focused on counterattacking, has an advantage in this situation. Why many weak teams all choose to defend and counterattack when facing strong teams. Although the defensive counterattack tactic is sometimes criticized as utilitarian football, but it is indeed a very economical tactic, especially in the lead situation. At the beginning of the second half, Mata also organized several threatening attacks, but they were all resolved by Malaga's defense, as the game time passed by every minute and every second. The mentality of the Valencia players also began to feel a little anxious. The specific performance is that the number of passing balls began to decrease, and the passing and shooting began to increase. This is probably the characteristic of Mata's type of midfielder. They need the trust and understanding of their teammates, and their individual blasting ability is not as good as that of traditional wingers. Under these circumstances, Valencia's offensive threat has been greatly reduced. Who is the most anxious among them? Of course, it was the Spanish center Soldado who was holding back his strength to compete with Ye Luo. Ye Luo has already scored, and Soldado has not shown much so far. Blanca is watching this match. Think of this, Soldado was even more anxious. After so many years of licking, I have licked out feelings. How could he allow himself to appear so useless in front of the goddess? Soldado began to pull out of the center position more and went to the right to receive the ball, squeezing Mata's position. This reduced the possession of the ball at Mata's feet, and Valencia's offensive organization once seemed quite chaotic. Game number 7:08 minutes. After receiving the ball in the corner of the penalty area, Soldado led the ball and turned into the penalty area. After ignoring Mata's signal to reach out for the ball, he swung his foot and planned to shoot. However, the moment he raised his foot, Demichelis took the opportunity to hook the ball over, then blocked Soldado sideways and then kicked the ball forward with his right foot. What I was looking for was the top of Baptista's head. The Brazilian beast leaped high and headed the ball to the right. Yellow had already been activated when Demichelis made a long pass. Baptista's header flick puts the ball right in front of him. Ye Luo got the ball easily, took it forward and started to speed up. Ye Luo! Here it comes again! The narrators all exclaimed. In the stands of the Mestalla Stadium, the Valencia fans immediately booed sharply, only this time. No matter how you listen to these boos, it makes people feel a little emboldened and desperate. Among the sharp boos, Ye Luo dribbled the ball forward along the wing, but this time there was not a smooth road ahead of him, but several Valencia defenders. Valencia's two defensive midfielders Banega and Albelda, left back Alba, and left center-back Navarro are all shrinking to this side. Banega came directly with a big sliding shovel. In an exclamation, Ye Luo just continued to accelerate, past Banega's sliding shovel, and continued to move forward along the sidewalk. The other midfielder Albelda ran towards his penalty area when he couldn't catch up, while Alba and fight and retreat, not daring to take a step easily. However, he was retreating, but Ye Luo was accelerating. When the distance between the two sides was only 1 meter, Ye Luo smashed the ball with his right foot and dribbled the ball to the center. Alba immediately turned and shrank towards the penalty area. Navarro also approaching Ye Luo. At this time, the goalkeeper Moya on the goal line almost put all his attention on Ye Luo. At this time, Ye Luo, who cut inside, attracted the attention of 4 Valencia defenders. After he cut in, his left foot was already raised high. Ye Luo shoots. In the exclamation of all the narrators, Ye Luo's raised left foot did not shoot the ball towards the goal, but rubbed the ball gently with the instep of the outside foot. The football had a slight arc in the air, from Navarro and Albelda passed through their waists and fell to the other side of the penalty area. Off camera, Isco plugged in at high speed. The moment he entered the penalty area, Ye Luo's pass fell right in front of him. what he has to do is simple: raise your right foot and shoot with your arch. Goalkeeper Moya never thought that Ye Luo was thinking about passing the ball in this situation. He quickly adjusted his position, but it was too late to make a save. When he just turned around, the football had already crossed the goal line from his right-hand side. 2-0. Malaga's twin stars teamed up to contribute another goal to seal the victory. Tomorrow at _frowny-face -noon, it is guaranteed to be updated with no less than words on the day of release. End of this chapter. Chapter 63, 7th place in the league, enter the game to fight 4 battlefields. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 63, 7th in the league, enter the 4 battlefields. Ye Luo pushes Banaga's slider along the sidewalk. Be careful. Oh Yellow. Yellow can continue to accelerate. Zhang Jun in the studio saw his palms sweating when he saw Banaga approaching with a sliding shovel. Such a high-speed tackle can easily injure someone. But fortunately, Ye Luo can continue to accelerate. Cut into the middle, left foot. Pass. Beautiful. It's a pass in seconds. Isco inserted into the penalty area. Shot. Goal in. Goal in. Assist from Yellow, Isco sent the ball into the gate of Valencia. 2-0. Malaga leads Valencia 10-away. There are still about minutes left in the regular time of the game, and the lead of 2 goals has made Malaga. We have secured the victory of this game. Zhang Jun was shouting. Longhua fans in front of TV, mobile phone and computer screens are also cheering. Win this game, we are only 8 points away from the top 4. 4th is expected. It seems that 8 points is not easy, but Malaga has been chasing from the bottom to the present. 7 consecutive victories. Don't worry, judging from this momentum, Malaga is going to fight for the 4th place. Hold it in hand. Believe me, brothers, I'm an Arsenal fan, I have a lot of experience. At this time, at the Mestalla Stadium, the Valencia fans booed and everything stopped. They stared blankly at the football behind their goal. An absurd thought flashed in my mind: Valencia won't really be pulled down by Malaga in the top 4, right? And this time, more than 1,000 Malaga expeditionary fans who came to the scene finally gave out their clear cheers in this stadium. The Mestalla Stadium is completely occupied by them at the moment. Until the stupefied Valencia fans came back to their senses, they quickly silenced their voices with boos. In front of more than 5 home fans, the voices of more than 1,000 visiting team fans could be considered insignificant to describe. But what if the Mestalla is once again home to fans? On the big screen at the scene, the score of 0-2 was so dazzling. Sidelines, Emery looked at the pitch helplessly, enduring Pellegrini's yelling and celebrating. Not far away, he frowned, thinking quickly about countermeasures, but very helpless. Apart from counting on the explosion of the stars on the court, there is really no other better way tactically. Of course he can switch to a striker and fight for his life. But this is more likely to be beaten by Malaga's counterattack. He stared at Malaga's players, especially their number 10 Yellow, who celebrated their goals on the pitch. His ability is simply tailor-made for this set of counterattack tactics. As long as there is a chance to fight back, he can bring the ball into Valencia's penalty area and create a threat. With Ye Luo here, Malaga's terrifying threat of counterattack had to make Valencia fearful. In this case, if you want to complete the goal, equalizing the score is an extravagant hope. However, Emery still made the last dying struggle. He made substitutions in the midfield and the front court. Soldado was replaced by Adjures, while in midfield, defensive midfielder Banaga was replaced by attacking midfielder Fernandez. Valencia adjusted the formation to 433, and started the final onslaught. The last moments of the game, Valencia are on the offensive. With their offensive posture, if the game time was longer, maybe they could really score a goal. But as the 3 minutes of stoppage time passed, the referee blew the whistle for the end of the game. Moment, all Valencia players bowed their heads in despair. Malaga's players raised their arms and cheered for victory. The game is over. The game is over. Malaga defeated Valencia 27-, in the away game and achieved an incredible 7-game winning streak. 7 games, 7 victories, Malaga's total points came to points. They are only 8 points away from 4th place Valencia. Malaga's ranking in the standings has surpassed Sevilla with 26 points and climbed to number 7 in the league. In front of them are Atletico Madrid with 32 points and Atletico Madrid with 33 points. Athletic Bilbao, the Spaniard with 35 points, Valencia with 37 points, Villarreal with 51 points, Real Madrid with 54 points and Barcelona with points. Winning this game declares that Malaga has officially joined the top 4 in the league in the competition for Champions League qualification. Who would have imagined this 2 months ago? Andres, the commentator of Kobe Radio in the commentary booth, said with emotion, after the 13th round of the season, Malaga was even considered a favorite for relegation. However, now that Malaga has directly won a wave of 7 consecutive victories after the 13th round, the ranking has climbed to number 7. And it is now a contender for the top 4 in the league. Such a turning point is simply incredible. The key to all this is of course their number 10 core player, Ye Luo from Dragon Country. When Andres shouted, the camera's lens firmly locked on Ye Luo, the best player in the game, reporters flocked to surround the game's best player. Yes, we won this crucial battle, but it's only 3 points for us. If we want to catch up with the top 4 teams, what we need is to continue to win and get more points. Of course the captain's armband has a special meaning. As the captain on the field, this armband can give me more sense of responsibility. Compared with my personal statistics, I think I care more about the team's victory, facing the camera and dense radio equipment. Ye Luo maturely faced the reporter's questions. Ms. Vera in the stand stared at the interview broadcast on the big screen and nodded in satisfaction. During this time, she was training Ye Luo on media etiquette. As a star, how to face the media is one of the most basic skills to learn. Ye Luo's performance is very good. Ms. Vera couldn't help but think of the reports she had collected about Ye Luo in Longwa. She really didn't understand why such a handsome, humble, and self-disciplined player would be called a problem player by so many media in Longwa, and even have such a huge conflict with the Longwa Football Association. A professional media public relations worker like Ms. Vera can't figure it out, which shows how weird the Longwa Football Association is. Malaga didn't stay at the Mestalla Stadium for long. After a refreshment, everyone set off on their way home. On the way, Ye Luo turned on the system that he hadn't paid attention to for a long time, but found out in astonishment. The integration progress of the 3 templates has reached 43%. Pre-launch preview, tomorrow, Friday, at frownyface noon, no less than words will be updated on the first day of release. Ask for a wave of recommendation tickets, monthly tickets, another begging for the first order. End of this chapter. Chapter 64 Champion Judge, join the Spanish national team. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Luo froze for a moment. He clearly remembered that the last time he completed the main task, the integration progress was 42%, however, the numbers on the attribute template are not dazzling. Just when Ye Luo was about to ask about the system has automatically answered. It turns out that games and training can help template integration, especially games. Any game data can promote integration, such as running data, shooting, passing, etc. Of course, goals and assists have the greatest weight. In this game, Ye Luo scored a goal and an assist. Coupled with the accumulation of the previous games, the integration progress has naturally increased by 1 percentage point. Think of this. Ye Luo immediately cheered up. This will undoubtedly bring him greater motivation for the game. Every meter of running on the field, every pass, every key pass, assist, goal, and every victory can make his strength move in the direction he wants. The property template is closed. Ye Luo leaned on the back of the chair and closed his eyes to rest. It is now the end of January 2011. He was still 10 days away from his 18th birthday, but now Ye Luo has no time to go there, because for Malaga now, the next second half of the schedule is quite critical. If you want to reach the top 4, you must make sure to score points and win every game. You can't go wrong at all. However, the number 20 round of the league, Malaga's 7-game winning streak came to an abrupt end. In their away game against Zaragoza, they besieged their opponents to no avail. At the end of the game, the two sides scored a goalless draw. Malaga ended their 7-game winning streak. Ye Luo also ended his own record of scoring in 7 consecutive league games. Everything happened so that the Malaga fans were a little caught off guard, but for coach Manuel Pellegrini, this draw did not make him angry, because for a team, the ups and downs are really normal, although a draw now has frustrated Malaga's momentum of scoring points. But isn't this the beginning of Malaga throwing away the pressure accumulated from winning streak and starting to play light again? 2-month 6th day, 7 o'clock in the evening local time, Malaga sits at home against Sevilla. Sevilla is in poor form this season, but strictly speaking they are also a member of the 4 group. Sevilla is now 1 point behind Malaga. This is definitely a tough fight for Malaga. The two sides fought for every inch of ground in the midfield. The game was still 0-0 until the number 809 minute, just when people thought that Malaga was about to suffer 2 consecutive draws. Ye Luo made a breakthrough on the wing and entered the penalty area, and then swept the ball vigorously towards the goal from a small angle. The Sevilla goalkeeper barely made the save, keeping the ball inside the 6-yard box, but Malaga's centre forward, Baptista the Brazilian beast, showed up just in time, took the lead and poked the ball into the goal. 1-0. Malaga scored at the last minute, beat Sevilla, back on track to victory. However, after the game, the media talked about Ye Luo's scoring drought. He hadn't scored in 2 consecutive games, although most of the credit for Malaga's lone goal in the game against Sevilla needs to be credited to Ye Luo, but it cannot change the fact that he has not scored in 2 consecutive games. The media began to talk about it one after another. Many media said that Ye Luo's crazy era is over, and he has been under stricter surveillance. He is no longer a fledgling star. His characteristics have been well known, and he has been studied. Being targeted, as a rising star, he has already encountered his own bottleneck. At first glance, what these media say makes sense. However, Pellegrini faced questions from reporters at the pre-match press conference for the number 20 home game against Getafe in the 3rd round of the league, but said that the media's statement was too ridiculous. He doesn't have any bottlenecks. Scoring goals is as simple as drinking water for him. Really, at the Rose Garden, Ye Luo, who suffered 2 scoring droughts, took control of the field again amidst the cheers of the home fans. He first cut inside number 301 minutes in the first half to help Malaga take the lead. Before the end of the first half, Ye Luo took the ball from the penalty area line, dribbled the ball into the bottom of the penalty area, crossed it to the corner of the small penalty area on the other side, and gave an assist to Isco, who stepped in to participate in the attack. After 2-0, Malaga played more calmly in the second half. Game number 607 minutes Ye Luo scored again. This was a pass from Isco from the wing. Ye Luo jumped high and smashed the ball into the goal with a header. This goal also made people aware of the fact that Ye Luo is underage. According to official data, Ye Luo's height is 176 centimeters. But when he stood on the court, he was not much shorter than the 185 centimeters Baptista, and after Ye Luo overpowered the central defender to score the header, many commentators said that Ye Luo's height must be more than 176 centimeters now. In fact it is. Ye Luo's public profile card has not been updated, but in the past few months, his height has increased rapidly, and he has exceeded 180 centimeters. On this basis, Ye Luo's center of gravity has not changed much, but his jumping and heading abilities have begun to be more reflected. In the end, the score of this game was 4-2, and the two sides contributed a hearty goal battle at the Rose Garden Stadium. After the draw with Zaragoza, Malaga have defeated Sevilla and Getafe successively, achieved 2 consecutive victories and embarked on the winning track again. Ye Luo. Beautiful. 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 Beautiful goal. World wave. 2 goals. Malaga, who are playing at home, have secured the victory. They are about to win another 7 consecutive victories. With this victory, Malaga's points will reach 49 points, leaving only 4 points behind Villarreal, number 2 in the league. Malaga in the top 4. Yellow's league number 20 has 3 goals. He also continues to catch up with the 2 superstars at the top of the scorer list. Today, the top scorer list in the league is Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored 30 goals. Ranked second is Messi with 29 goals, and ranked third is Ye Luo with 23 goals. You know, Ye Luo has played, league rounds less than the previous two. Rose Garden Stadium, the commentators on the commentary booth held their heads and shouted. In front of the TV, countless fans who followed the game were also cheering. The whole stadium was cheering and shaking. A few lines of text on the big screen in the stadium are clearly visible. Time freezes at this moment. La Liga number 28 rounds, Malaga vs Espanyol, score, 2 o'clock. Game time, 91:07:11. The home team is in front, the visiting team is behind. All the fans in the stadium were cheering. The black-haired boy running wildly on the field was in high spirits. He has just scored his number 23 La Liga goals, and these few rounds of the league, Malaga also wins all the way. In the fourth round of number 20 in the league, they won the key battle 3-, in the away game. The opponent they defeated was Villarreal, which was ranked no-, at the time. Ye Luo scored a goal in this game. In the 25th round of the league, Ye Luo scored twice to help Malaga beat Almeria 20-20 at home. League no-, defeated Osasuna-, in the 6th round. Ye Luo did not score in this game but completed an assist. League no-, 7th round. Ye Luo scored twice to help the team beat Real Sociedad at home. Malaga once again achieved a wave of 6 consecutive victories, and the league number 28 rounds before the start of the game against Espanyol at home in Malaga, Villarreal lost to Real Madrid, away. This also means that Villarreal, who originally led Malaga by 5 points, is likely to be chased by Malaga to only 2 points after this game. This also gave Malaga an extra boost in this game. In fact, this game is also a key battle to some extent. This season's La Liga battle is almost as lively as the Premier League. Valencia, Villarreal, Malaga, Atlético de Madrid, Espanyol and other teams have little difference in points between each other. Valencia number 20, which ranks third, has won 8 rounds of the league. In total points it has reached 54 points, and the 7th-ranked Spaniard now has 45 points although they have not finished the number 28 rounds of the league. But now, unless there is a miracle, they will have no choice but to accept the defeat at the Rose Garden Stadium. It's over, and if Malaga wins this game, on the one hand, it will widen the point difference with the Spaniard behind them. Their points will reach 49 points, and at the same time, they will be closer to number 4 Villa. Real's point difference, after Villarreal lost to Real Madrid, their points stayed at 51 points, only 2 points ahead of Malaga. The camera locks onto the Malaga players celebrating. Wearing the captain's armband, Ye Luo opened his arms and hugged his teammates to celebrate the goal. After the celebration, Ye Luo shook his fist at the fans in the stands. Immediately, cheers resounded through the sky. Malaga! Viva! Ye Luo! Long live! Listen to this voice. Now may be the happiest moment for the fans in the Rose Garden. Their team is about to reach a pinnacle in the history of the team. Andres, the narrator of Corb Radio, said loudly. And after Malaga scored the second goal, the morale of the Spaniards completely collapsed. In the last few minutes of the game, the fans at the Rose Garden Stadium danced the Poznan dance and played Human Waves. The whole Rose Garden is celebrating the victory. With the end of the game whistle, the cheers at the Rose Garden reached their peak. Malaga is only 2 points away from the top 4. However, while the Malaga players were celebrating, the team's coach Pellegrini is not easy. He hurriedly shook hands with the opposing coach before returning to the locker room, because the next 2 games will be extremely severe tests for Malaga. On March 3, in the 9th round of number 27 of the league, Malaga challenged Barcelona away. On April 4, in the number 2 round of the league, Malaga played against Real Madrid at home. These 2 games are very critical to Malaga, or to Barcelona and Real Madrid. To the 3 teams. At the end of this game, in the stands, Alvarez, a reporter from the Marca newspaper, typed a headline in his notebook: Malaga will become the judge of the La Liga championship. Although the competition for the 4th in La Liga this season is fierce, but the media and most of the fans are obviously more concerned about the La Liga championship battle. Now the 28 rounds of the league are over. Barcelona scored 74 points and ranked first in the standings. Real Madrid ranked second with 72 points. These 2 teams can be said to be at the top of the standings, and at the same time the points between each other are very tight. only a difference of 2 points. Every next game is crucial for these two teams. There are only 9 rounds left in La Liga. And Real Madrid and Barcelona will meet in the number 30 round of the league just after the two sides played against Malaga first. If Malaga is an ordinary La Liga mid-lower team, forget it. After all, no one believes that teams like Almeria and Zaragoza can threaten Real Madrid and Barcelona, who are holding their breath to compete for the championship. But Malaga is in great shape, a wave of 7 consecutive victories. 15 consecutive rounds unbeaten, second only to Barcelona's 21 rounds unbeaten this season. Before Real Madrid and Barcelona's Tianwangshan battle, both teams will have to meet Malaga first. It has to be said that the arrangement of this schedule is really too coincidental. Whoever loses to Malaga before a direct dialogue between the two sides, that's not only a blow to morale, but it is also likely to be dropped or forced to close in terms of points, if Malaga loses to Barcelona and wins Real Madrid. Then even if Real Madrid wins the game against Barcelona at home in the number 30 round, they are still 2 points behind Barcelona. On the contrary, Real Madrid can face Barcelona with a 1-point lead. As for Malaga winning or losing both games, that naturally has little effect on the status of the two championship teams, and for Malaga itself, the test of these two games is not insignificant. They have to face a strong enemy in 2 consecutive games, and they are still at the critical moment of the fourth. For Malaga, they will never give up these 2 games easily. Even if the opponents are Real Madrid and Barcelona, Malaga will try their best to score points, but for Malaga, after the number 28 rounds of the league, there will be 2 consecutive weeks of national team match days. Due to Malaga's outstanding performance in La Liga, many players in the team have been called by the national team. Isco was recruited into the Spanish national team by Berks. After winning the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, the Spanish national team also needs to add fresh blood to prepare for the European Cup next summer, and Baptista, who had been away from the Brazilian national team for many years, was once again called by the Brazilian national team, which made this extremely strong Brazilian striker extremely excited. I prepared to pack up and salute early, and I will return to Brazil to report to the national team as soon as the game is over. In addition, Demichelis, who has to fly halfway across the world to South America, is already a regular visitor to the Argentine national team. Malaga is no longer the same team that had almost no international players, because of their outstanding performance in the league. It is normal for their players to get the attention of their respective national team coaches. And what makes Pellegrini happy is that, even now that Ye Luo has booked the best young player in La Liga this season and is definitely selected for the best team, the Dragon National Football Association still did not take Ye Luo away on the national team match day, and let Ye Luo, the absolute core of Malaga, avoid the danger of being exhausted on the day of the national team game, and may even be kicked during the national team game. For the club, it's a risk for a player to play for his national team, and it's the club's responsibility to take that risk. Ye Luo didn't have to go to the Dragon Country national team's match. This is a great thing for Malaga, but for Ye Luo, he can also use these 2 weeks to adjust and rest, so that his tense nerves can be relaxed and repaired. And when the national team's games began to occupy the media space, there is relatively less news about the club, but Ye Luo, who stayed in Spain and only went to the Malaga first team training base for some basic recovery training every day, didn't know it. What a torment these 2 weeks of national team match days have been for Dragon Country fans. Ye Luo basically doesn't pay much attention to the news of the national team now anyway. Looking at it is also angry, so just don't watch it. In the past 2 weeks, the Longwa national team will play 2 World Cup Asian qualifiers for the top 40 games. The opponents are Guam and Singapore. The result was 1 win and 1 loss. Home win over Guam and away defeat by Singapore. It's nothing to beat Guam, because Guam is an amateur team. The team's biggest player is actually a 19-year-old echelon player who plays for the youth echelon of the Thai league. The other players are amateur players. They play part-time. What kind of occupation is a doctor, a mason, an engineer, and the like? But even so, the national team actually failed to score a goal in the first half, relying on 2 headers in the penalty area in the second half to grab points, and finally won. And in the away game against a big belly like Singapore, the national team actually lost. Although the result of 1 win and 1 loss is 3 points at first glance, This is the group stage of the top 40, after the top 4.5 is the top, dash, and after the top, dash, is the competition for the, dash, World Cup places in Asia, for the Dragon Country national team. To pass the top 40, you have to score all 3 points in the face of groups like Guam and Singapore, and then you are eligible to compete for the first place in a group against Syria, the biggest competitor in the Group A. Total of 5 teams in this group, namely the Dragon Kingdom, Syria, Singapore, Guam, and Bhutan. Of the next 3 teams, Singapore is ranked, dash, or, dash, at the bottom of Asia, while Guam and Bhutan are amateur teams. If even Singapore loses, the hope of the competition group qualifying first is slim. After all, Dragon Kingdom fans dare not expect to take advantage of Syria, but facing Singapore actually lost. This caused domestic public opinion to explode. My mother, I really dare to lose. Losing to Singapore. Is it going to lose to Laos or Myanmar next? Convex, fuck duck. I don't even want my face. For a while, the domestic public opinion is turbulent, the Dragon National Football Association is under tremendous pressure, and in this case, the fans naturally talked about Ye Luo. Why doesn't the Dragon National Football Association recruit Ye Luo into the national team? Did they not know what they did at the beginning? I'm ashamed to do a review Nima. The program source damn exploded. Convex, fuck duck. The Dragon Country national team lost, the fans scolded, and every time they scolded, Ye Luo would be mentioned, and when Ye Luo was mentioned, what happened a few months ago would be brought up again. When Ma Deshine saw the public opinion on the internet, his face was very ugly. He knew his mission. If the storm of public opinion that the Longwan national team lost to Singapore cannot be settled, then his status in some aspects will be affected. Mr. Ma, we still have to find a solution from Ye Luo, said Ma's new black-eyed assistant. On him? Let Ye Luo join the national team. Impossible, the national team can't want such a trick, Ma Deshine said immediately. Of course not, but to make a fuss about his identity. His identity? For example, the issue of manipulating his position. What position? The position of the national team. Just say that he is going to join the Spanish national team. Ye Luo was not satisfied when he played in La Liga. Now Spain can let him join the Spanish national team as long as they give him a passport. Isn't this a rumor? Ma Deshine frowned slightly. You still know that spreading rumors is wrong, the black-eyed assistant complained in his heart. There was a look of flattery on his face. Mr. Ma, how can this be a rumor? Ye Luo is unable to join the Dragon national team, so he seeks to join the Spanish national team. This is common sense and human nature. The assistant said, and he abandoned the Dragon national team and chose Spain the national team. It can also be said that football is mobilized for the honor of the World Cup. But if this is the case, why do Dragon Country fans continue to talk about Ye Luo? As long as we muddy the water, the public opinion will be directed at Ye Luo. At that time, you can explain to the higher authorities. As long as Ye Luo is equated with being unpatriotic, we can solve this problem once and for all in the future. Ma's news said that there was a hint of viciousness in his slender eyes. Okay. Ma Deshine also slapped his thigh. Isn't this kid crazy? I'll criticize you, and criticize you as a traitor. Let me see how crazy you are. In fact, Ma Deshine didn't want to get entangled in this matter. He and Ye Luo had no grievances in the past, and they have no grievances in the present, so there is nothing wrong with it, but there is no way now. The national team actually lost to Singapore. It was literally killing me. A team that Singapore can't even play against Vietnam, can lose unexpectedly, and once the national football team loses, the fans will mention Ye Luo. The calls for Ye Luo to join the national team are getting louder and louder. The current football association is not as powerful as it used to be, and the influence of public opinion must also be considered, and as a horseman in some aspects, of course I have to be responsible for dealing with this aspect. If not handled well, both he and the football news are afraid to get some internal information, and their interests will be greatly damaged. Boy, don't blame me for being stubborn, you can only blame yourself for being ignorant. Ma Xian's eyes flashed. How to stir up public opinion. these reporters with pens are professional. Ma Dexin immediately started to act. His black-eyed assistant quickly operated dozens of marketing accounts and began to spread a message. Ye Luo's agent Mendez is in contact with the Spanish Football Association, and the Spanish Football Association is trying to naturalize Ye Luo. This news quickly attracted the attention of many fans after being reposted by a large number of marketing accounts. Subsequently, Ma Dexin contacted the bib again and bought a hot search. Soon, this piece of news that shocked all football fans was fermented on the internet. Scarf, Jiba, Mapu, etc. The fans were stunned when they saw this news. What? Luo finally produced a genius, and he actually wants to represent Spain. Those who are in a hurry immediately started scolding. Fuck. What's going on? Is my father blind? Of course, there are some fans who support this. If you stay in Luo, you won't be able to enter the national team. It's better to join Spain. Yes, joining Spain can also dream of winning the World Cup. There were also those who immediately refuted them. Is it really a dream to represent a foreign country in the World Cup? I cannot accept. There is also the calm emperor who said that he would let the bullets fly for a while. In short, the shock caused by this news was unprecedented. Soon, the shock caused by this news made almost all football fans, sports fans, and even the entire Luo internet circle boil. The opinions of all parties are muddy and sandy. Suddenly, the name Ye Luo came into everyone's sight again. Ye Luo joined Spain. Zhong Deong, a resident reporter of South China Sports Daily in Spain, was woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning local time in Spain by an international long-distance chain of death-killing calls from China. He didn't react when he heard the words of his domestic colleague on the other end of the phone. Where did this news come from? Haven't heard of it in the whole of Spain. He woke up almost instantly and looked at the time, 4 o'clock in the morning Spanish time, that is, 10 o'clock in the morning BJ time, and this news was pushed intensively by some marketing accounts a few hours ago, and then it was detonated on the hot search of the bib. So it seems, this is simply not the rhythm of a normal blockbuster news, thought here. Zhong Deong still didn't understand what was going on. It's all in vain. I have been in the domestic sports media circle for so many years. Someone wants Hey Ye Luo, Zhong Deong said immediately. Avert your eyes. The domestic colleague on the other end of the phone said helplessly. Ma's new again. It's him. His scarf authentication account has been personally terminated. Zhong Deong was silent for a moment, and said, the national football team lost, and the pressure of public opinion was too great, so I took Ye Luo out to cover the bag, and diverted the focus of public opinion. Such operations are common all over the world. The best way to divert the focus of public opinion is to create another focus. Public opinion is like a single-threaded creature, always chasing hot spots one after another. Imagine, after the topic of Ye Luo joining the Spanish national team was hyped up, the national football team defeated Singapore, not many people pay attention anymore. The memes are very general and old-fashioned, but helpless. Such memes, it just works. Zhong Bian, what should we do now? Dispel rumors? Will this offend the FA? Don't report it in the newspaper, Zhong Deong said. In fact, he is not sure if this is a rumor, because he thinks carefully. If the Luo national team is determined not to recruit Ye Luo, then Ye Luo will try to join Spain. The national team seems to be a very reasonable choice. Moreover, if Ye Luo never gets the call of the Dragon Kingdom national team, then, based on this situation, the Spanish Football Association carried out the action of naturalizing Ye Luo. Seems reasonable too. Could it be that this matter is not groundless? Even the reporters stationed in Spain began to doubt the authenticity of this news. It can be seen that this piece of news is deceptive, because this seems to be a somewhat reasonable trend. No wonder many fans broke their defenses as soon as they saw the news. Imagine, after waiting for several years. Trying to join the Spanish national team must be one of Ye Luo's black spots. The truth is not too important. What matters is part of the collective memory. No matter what the final result of this matter is, it will have a certain impact on Ye Luo's image in China. Isn't that what Wang Zhiji's traitorous gate was like back then? Truth often gives way to emotion. Zhong Deong hung up the phone and sighed in his heart. It is not easy for such a historical genius to appear in the history of Luo football. Why is the road he has to face so bumpy? Zhong Deong looked out the window. the streets of Spain at 4 o'clock in the morning were empty. Ye Luo would definitely not get up for training at 4 o'clock in the morning. Ensuring adequate sleep is a must for every athlete to maintain state. It is conceivable that Ye Luo is still sleeping soundly in the hotel in Barcelona. This afternoon, they will challenge the top team Barcelona at the Nou Camp. After the impeller wakes up, see this message. I don't know if it will have any impact on his game state. Zhong Daong turned on the phone, hesitate for a long time. Finally, I still didn't call to harass. Instead, a few messages were sent, because that's how public opinion is. So what if Ye Luo woke up now? Can he have any way to influence domestic public opinion? Thinking of this, Zhong Daong turned on the computer and logged into his Bib account. Currently there is no news in the Spanish media about Ye Luo's naturalization. He wrote on the Bib. Although, people speak lightly. End of this chapter. Chapter 65 Messi, this is a challenge from Ye Luo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Zhong Daong was very caring and didn't call Ye Luo at 4 o'clock in the morning, but at 6:30 a.m. local time, Ms. Vera's deadly call still managed to make Ye Luo fumble for the phone on the bedside table in a daze. Ye, are you going to join the Spanish national team? On the other end of the phone, Ms. Vera, who has a mature and stable personality and physique, is almost in a hurry. This is the biggest public relations crisis of the moment. Ye Luo's markets are basically in the Dragon Kingdom. At least for now, joining the Spanish national team is simply impossible for Ye Luo to imagine. He has no Spanish ancestry. If it loses the market of Longwa because of this, wouldn't it be too much to lose? Mendez Brokerage Company will also suffer heavy losses as a result. Join the Spanish national team. Ye Luo was also dumbfounded. Then Vera explained quickly. Hearing the news that Ye Luo joins the Spanish national team was on the top of the Bib search. His drowsiness vanished in an instant. Where did this start? I am a dignified dragon countryman, joining the Spanish team. Why? And he is very sure that if he abandons his nationality of the Dragon Kingdom and joins the nationality of Spain, then his old man will definitely come to Spain to break his foot. In addition, Xiaoya's name must be deleted from the genealogy of his hometown's ancestral hall. Ye Luo hurriedly took out his personal mobile phone. He is now a star player, so naturally he has to separate his work number from his personal number. Really, more than 20 missed calls made Xiaoya's scalp tingle. Old beans, old ladies, there are also childhood friends, old classmates, and so on. Ye Luo didn't need to think about what they were going to ask. He also saw the message Zhong Daong sent him. Combined with the loss of the Longwa national team to Singapore, Ye Luo probably understood what was going on. This is being used to divert attention. I will not join the Spanish national team. I have no interest in this at all. Ye Luo rubbed his temples and said. In this case, then you should make it clear on your Longwa social account. Ms. Vera breathed a sigh of relief. After Ye Luo hung up the phone, he first sent a message to his relatives and friends in China to explain. Then he opened a scarf that hadn't been logged in for a long time. The explosive messages almost burst the phone. Ye Luo bit the bullet and looked at it. Not surprisingly, most of them are curses. He sneered, directly on the scarf. He wrote the matter without hesitation. The Longwa national team faced tremendous pressure in losing to Singapore, and concocted fake news to divert attention. In the end, Ye Luo directly stated that it was absolutely impossible for him to change his nationality. Betrayed the country for the World Cup. Is that still human? Ye Luo dropped the phone. Another sleep in the cage, and this time, Ye Luo's almost straightforward scarf was quickly forwarded and supported. The opponent is playing tricks. Ye Luo directly showed his cards and turned the table. Anyway, he didn't care about the rules and unspoken rules in the domestic football circle. If you want to play this, I will not wait for you. As for the evidence. No. Believe it or not, those who believe will naturally believe. People who don't believe are also little blacks. What to be afraid of? Ye Luo is not a small fresh meat. He lives by playing football, not by his face. What is Xiao Haizi afraid of? The two football superstars, Messi and Ronaldo, must have the most fans, but they also have the most blacks. If you want to wear a crown, you must bear its weight. Probably for this reason, as Ye Luo became more and more famous, there were more and more fans. There must be more and more black fans from all sides. There are more than 1 billion people in the country. Even if the odds are 10,000 in, that's, plus people. What's more, there are some professions, after sending out this bib. Ye Luo didn't pay attention to the repercussions brought about by the scarf. It wasn't that he didn't want to watch the excitement. Instead, Ye Luo is now fully preparing for the next big battle. At the new camp, challenge the Cosmos team Barcelona. This kind of game made Ye Luo look forward to it, not only because the outcome of this game is related to the significance. Because Villarreal lost to Atletico Madrid in yesterday's game away to the Calderón Stadium, this it also means that as long as Malaga beats Barcelona, it will be able to advance to number 4 in the league. As for Barcelona, they are now temporarily overtaken by Real Madrid. Real Madrid's game also ended yesterday, and they easily defeated Almeria at home. In other words, this is a game where both sides will do their best to win. Hosts Barcelona are defending their top spot in the league table, and Malaga, in order to enter the top 4. Even if you put aside the various meanings attached to this game because of the points situation, simply play against Barcelona, which has been known as the universe team for these years, it was enough to make Ye Luo's blood boil. Barcelona's home game against Malaga is undoubtedly the highlight of this round of La Liga, and it was also scheduled to start on the last match day of this round of the league. The other 9 games of this round of La Liga have all been completed, so now almost the entire Spanish football world, media, fans, etc. They are all paying attention to this focus battle that involves multiple meanings. The Malaga players finished their breakfast at almost 10 o'clock in the morning, and then did some physical training in the hotel's gym to maintain their vitality, and then began their lunch break. After lunch break, the players ate something at the hotel, and boarded the bus to the new camp under the watchful eyes of a large number of reporters. Before the start of the season, no one can imagine that Barcelona's home game against Malaga in the 9th round of La Liga's number 20 is as eye-catching as the final results of rounds 29, 30, and 31. To a large extent, it will determine the championship of this season's La Liga. And there was a number 30 round of head-to-head dialogue between the two championship teams. The 2 games of the 29th and th rounds are all related to Malaga. And Malaga is not a belly now. They are one of the best teams in La Liga right now. Friends in the audience, the judges have already boarded the bus. Who will they award the La Liga champion to? A reporter at the front of Kobe TV smiled humorously at the camera. But, for the media in Catalonia, can Malaga beat Barcelona at Camp Nou? This is not an interrogative sentence at all. From the perspective of Barcelona's mouthpiece newspapers such as World Sports Daily and Daily Sports Daily, this sentence should be replaced by, Malaga will witness the glory of the powerful, gorgeous and invincible cosmic team Barcelona at the new camp. What's so scary about Malaga? Yes, they are in good shape. They have an excellent record of unbeaten in 23 league games. Their core Ye Luo scored, goals in these, games. The average number of goals per game is stronger than that of Real Madrid's Mr. Ronaldo, and his shots are much smaller than Ronaldo. But so what? Can this prove that they can threaten Barcelona at the new camp? Barcelona beat Manchester United in the final of the Champions League to win the championship. Barcelona has won an unprecedented 5 crowns. They may be the strongest team ever. They have no reason to lose to Malaga at home because this is what an important game. That before the game, the World Sports Daily article was widely circulated among Barcelona fans. This can even be seen as Barcelona's call to arms. It is absolutely impossible for Barcelona, who is aiming for the La Liga championship, to have any chance for Malaga to take advantage of in this game. In fact, it's not just the media in Catalonia. Most of the media in other parts of Spain are not very optimistic about Malaga. Malaga is unbeaten in 21 consecutive games, but Barcelona has been unbeaten in consecutive games. They have never lost at the Camp Nou this season, and even Real Madrid were beaten by them in this stadium. Malaga has Ye Luo, Barcelona has Messi, and they're not just Messi, they also have Villa, Pedro, and the midfield trio, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. Their defense also has Puyol and Pique, a pair of central defenders, and goalkeeper Valdez is also a famous player for a while. More importantly, Barcelona's ability to control the game is too strong. Whether a team like Malaga, which mainly relies on counterattacks, can complete a steal and counterattack under Barcelona's possession is really a big question mark. In short, In addition to the media on the Real Madrid side who are expecting a miracle in Malaga, the local media in Malaga are cheering for their team. The media in other parts of Spain basically overwhelmingly believe that Barcelona, which is playing at home, will have the upper hand. When the bus from Malaga arrived at Camp Nou, they were greeted with crazy boos and countless raised middle fingers from the Barcelona fans. In this world's second-largest professional football stadium that can accommodate 99,354 people, it is said that the new camp is second only to the home stadium of the Brazilian national team, and the Maracana Stadium can accommodate up to 20 fans. The horror atmosphere created by nearly fans, enough to make all the teams who come to this stadium terrified. In fact, the average number of spectators per game at the new camp is about 5,000 per season. Not every La Liga game can reach a full level, but this game is undoubtedly full, which is enough to show the importance of this game. It wasn't just the buses entering the pitch from both sides that caught the eye, and some big people coming in and out at the various entrances and exits. For example, the head coach of the Spanish national team, Bosque, and his assistant Tony Grande, who were entering the field, were discovered by sharp-eyed media reporters. Del Bosque led Spain to a historic World Cup win last year, therefore, he is now regarded as a big celebrity in the eyes of the media, and his position as the coach of the Spanish national team is as stable as Mount Tai. There must be a lot of Spanish internationals playing in this game, so as the head coach of the Spanish national team, it is normal for Bosque to watch the game at Camp Nou. Mr. Bosque, what's your prediction for this game? Do you think Malaga have a chance of winning at Camp Nou? Hello. Among the problems, suddenly there was a question that seemed very abrupt. Mr. Bosque, there are rumors today that the Spanish Football Association is preparing to naturalize Ye Luo. Is this true? Bosque was originally smiling and didn't intend to answer any questions from the reporters, but walked towards the stadium with all his heart. As a result, he was obviously taken aback when he heard this question. Then he looked at his assistant. Many local reporters in Spain were also stunned. Obviously, this problem that it's too abrupt. Naturalized Ye Luo, where did this rumor come from? When they saw that the person who asked the question was a middle-aged Oriental man with black hair and black eyes, their doubts became even greater. But there are also some journalists who shine, because the conflict between Ye Luo and the Longua Football Association is no secret. Although there are not many people paying attention to this matter in Spain, it is always impossible to get around this matter as long as you collect information on Ye Luo. If Ye Luo is just an ordinary La Liga player, then this incident can only be used as some anecdotes about the players in the corners of the news to satisfy the novelty-seeking psychology of the Spanish fans. But now, the talent shown by Ye Luo is shocking enough. He's sure to lock in a Rookie of the Year award this season, and he'll definitely have a spot on the forward line on the All-NBA team, and no surprises at the other two spots. In other words, young Ye Luo will be the most watched player in La Liga this season besides Messi and Ronaldo. Is such a player qualified enough to join the Spanish national team? That goes without saying. And now he has not been recruited into the Dragon national team because of conflicts with the Dragon National Football Association. That is to say, Ye Luo, who has passed the age, has no record of playing in the adult national team at all. Any country, as long as Ye Luo accepts the passport of this country, he can represent the national team of this country in the game. Not just those Spanish journalists. Even Bosque's eyes suddenly brightened. Of course he did not express his position at this time. In fact, he even started to praise the work of Villar, the president of the Spanish Football Association. In his heart, could it be that the Spanish Football Association took advantage of the gap and stepped in, and it was almost done with Ye Luo? If it is like this, then the Spanish national team will have an extremely sharp knife on the front line, and behind him will be Xavi and Iniesta, two midfield masters. When I think of the scene where Ye Luo is fully fired under the pass of Xavi and Iniesta, Bosque walked with a much lighter pace. In mind, he has already surfaced Ye Luo's information. This is a Terminator almost like Messi and Ronaldo. He is very fast, possesses rare physical ability for a player of this age, and has excellent ball feel and shooting skills. 15 league games, scoring 23 goals. With such data, it is simply astonishing. While sitting on the box, Bosque was thinking about the power that Ye Luo could play in his team. Old man, it would be great if Ye Luo really joined us, wouldn't it? Bosque beamed. His assistant, Tony Grande, also nodded when he heard the words. If it's true, it would be great. but why do I think it's unreliable? Whether it is reliable or not needs to be fought for. I think we need to call the chairman of the Football Association. Bosque sat down in his seat and began to think about it seriously. Just now, suddenly there was a huge cheer on the court. It turned out that the Barcelona players had come out to warm up. Messi! 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 More than 9 fans collectively chanted the name of the new camp king. Barcelona's number 10 walked out of the players' tunnel with a normal expression, talking and laughing with his teammates, looking very relaxed. In fact, Malaga's players also came out of the tunnel. They also need to warm up. However, Malaga's number 10 did not look so calm. I only saw the head of the boy from the Dragon Kingdom looking left and right. There was a bit of curiosity in his eyes, as if Ye Luo, a tourist who set foot on Camp Nou, was really setting foot on this stadium for the first time. When I saw that the stands were packed with dense fans, Ye Luo took a deep breath. He turned his head and said loudly to his teammates, "Brothers, the stage has been set up." Beside him, Isco is also looking at the stands of the new camp. "It was spectacular," that he sighed. "It's going to be a tough fight," said young goalkeeper Asenjo. "I don't care about that." Ye Luo looked back at the stands. "I just want to win." Barcelona's starting lineup is out. Malaga pushed the door and entered, carrying the starting materials obtained from the official hands. "No surprises?" Pellegrini asked. "No." Malaga looked at the starting list in his hand again and said, "Barcelona's main force is very fixed. It's those 11 people who usually make some rotations in some less important games. But there is not much new on the whole, but it is precisely because of this that it seems that the Barcelona team is terrible. They don't seem to be afraid of the opponent's research, they have a fixed tactical play and routine every game, and they always control the football, but there are not many ways for other teams to face them." Puyol was injured. This is not a smoke bomb. He didn't even enter the 18-man squad. The starting central defender combination is Mascherano and Pique. Malaga said, "This is the only change in Barcelona's main lineup, or it can't be said to be a change, because with the growth of age, Barcelona captain Puyol's playing time has been significantly reduced this season, and injuries are frequent." However, the Argentine backcourt player Mascherano, who was transferred from Liverpool in the summer window last year, can stand up. Mascherano can play as a midfielder or as a central defender, and his partner with Pique looks pretty good, able to control the football very well. Therefore, Barcelona's strength has not declined much because of Puyol's aging. Pellegrini took a deep breath. He clearly knows the difficulty of this game. The opponent's ability to control the ball is too strong, and there is an offensive weapon like Messi. Once the defense shows inattention, it is very likely to be directly penetrated by the opponent. Just now, the players of Malaga finished their warm-up and pushed in, with all the players entering the visiting team locker room. After all, the starting players changed their game uniforms, socks, shin guards, and game shoes. "It's not an easy game," Pellegrini said. "It is foreseeable that we will have very little time to own the ball. I have emphasized this point countless times. So, the same sentence, patience. Patience. Be patient," Pellegrini said, staring at his players. "We are eager for these 3 points. If we win this game, we will create our own miracle. We don't care about their championship, but we have our own goals. Our opponents will be tough." In the home team locker room, Guardiola is also doing the final pre-war mobilization. Pay special attention to their number 10. Guardiola looks to Busquets and Mascherano. These 2 players will be the key players to defend yellow, because Barcelona's style is to control the ball and attack, and their 2 fullbacks, right back Alves and left back Maxwell, will press halfway to participate in passing and cutting. Once Malaga has a chance to fight back, it is necessary to rely on the defensive midfielder and the front central defender to complete the first-time defense, at least. To delay the opponent's counterattack and create time for the fullback to return to defense. Both Busquets and Mascherano are experienced players. They just nodded with calm faces. Guardiola didn't make any tirade speeches either. This Barcelona team has too much experience in playing big games. Their players have basically participated in the Champions League finals and won many championships. Even many Spanish internationals in their team have won the World Cup with the Spanish national team. Players with so many champions will naturally not have much emotional fluctuations in playing games like this. We will tell them in this game what a real strong team is. Pique pouted and said. Suddenly there was laughter in the locker room. Almost all Barcelona players showed relaxed smiles. Guardiola also smiled slightly. As long as his players come on the field with a smile on their face, his team is invincible. They can win any game. Malaga. Their strength is not enough to compete with Barcelona. As for Ye Luo, this game will make him understand, if his personal strength is combined with a strong team, he can truly experience what it means to be tough. Leo, what do you seem to be worried about? That when walking out of the locker room, Iniesta patted the only Leo Messi who was not smiling. The Argentine looked at Iniesta, shook his head slightly and said, I always feel that we shouldn't underestimate Ye Luo. Of course, we have attached great importance to him, haven't you noticed? The boss rarely makes defensive arrangements for an opponent's player. Yes, even that guy, the boss didn't specifically say how to defend him. That guy, it's a term used by Barcelona players to call Cristiano Ronaldo, is it really so? Messi walked out of the dressing room with his teammates. Coincidentally, the Malaga players also walked towards the player tunnel almost at the same time, and players from both sides met in the player tunnel like this. Ye Luo immediately looked at Messi, his eyes were full of excitement. This is the excitement of challenging the strong. Messi also looked at Ye Luo. He naturally didn't need to avoid the gaze of a challenger. Every year, I don't know how many players try to challenge him in the same field. However, there are not many who can really make Messi feel threatened. Challenge. Messi stared at Ye Luo. Not everyone has the qualifications to challenge me. End of this chapter. Chapter 66. Play Wild at Camp Nou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Luo understood the meaning of Messi's gaze. He looked back at Messi, finished the captain's armband on the arm, then he took the caddy and walked to the court. Boom. At the moment of setting foot in the new camp, the air wave hit. Ye Luo only felt that the eardrums and chest cavity were vibrating. He swaggered forward, no longer looking around like before. Instead, he looked ahead and firmly led his teammates to the court. From now on, Camp Nou is no longer a curious legendary stadium, but enemy positions. Ye Luo thought to himself. Friends of the audience. Friends of the audience. Players from both sides have already entered the field, and Ye Luo is still wearing the captain's armband of Malaga and leading the Malaga players into the field. I hope you will not be caught by today's news interfering with the state. Zhang Jun, the commentator of Xinglang Sports, said loudly. The scarf that Ye Luo sent out before is now at the top of the popular list. His style of directly dismantling everything without leaving any face or room left Ma Dexin and others confused. Most of the fans, of course, choose to believe in Ye Luo. Most people follow blindly. But people will naturally choose to believe what they want to see. Most fans do not want to see yellow choose the Spanish national team, so they were inclined to the filter brought by Ye Luo's position, which made them easily believe Ye Luo's conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory was crazily criticized by the mouthpiece of the Football Association headed by Ma Dexin. They frantically criticized Ye Luo's conspiracy theory and asked Ye Luo to produce evidence. But Ye Luo disappeared from the scarf again after sending out the scarf. It's a bit of an attitude that a leaf doesn't touch your body among thousands of flowers. That's all I said. As for your reaction, I don't care, and I can't care. At this moment, Ye Luo didn't think about domestic public opinion anymore. His mind is all about the game. There were no surprises in the start of both sides in this game. They were all out of the net. Malaga in the away game must have responded to Barcelona with a defensive and counterattack attitude. Can Malaga complete an efficient counterattack in this game? It is the key to whether they can retreat in this game. As the narrators are busy introducing the starting lineup, tactics, and some predictions and previews of the game, players from both sides have completed a series of pre-match rituals. Villa stood in the middle circle and stepped on the ball under his feet. With the referee's whistle, Villa kicked the ball to Harvey's feet in the backcourt. The game officially begins. After taking the ball, Xavi did not continue to pass forward, but continued to pass back until the ball was passed back to the feet of central defender Mascherano. Both Barcelona's fullbacks pressed forward across the half-court close to the sideline. Xavi and Busquets retreated to the front of the restricted area to respond. Barcelona put on a classic ball possession tactics. If you look down from the sky, you can see it. Every Barcelona player is close to each other, and every player can establish a direct passing connection with at least two teammates. By position on the pitch, the Barcelona players divided the pitch into small triangles, possession of the ball. It is the soul of this Barcelona team. Their set of tactics has continued from the Cruyff era to the present, but what really flourished was in the Guardiola era, after the establishment of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets' midfield iron triangle plus Messi's sharp knife. Barcelona's possession of the ball futsal finally succeeded and truly became the cosmic team that attracted the attention of all the giants in European football. Therefore, although there are many teams learning Barcelona's ball-handling tactics, there are very few teams that can really play like Barcelona now. On the one hand, they can't control it. The field can achieve the technical ability and tacit understanding of the three midfielders like Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets. Not to mention technical ability, all three are top midfielders. The tacit understanding alone is very difficult after all. These three are produced by La Masia, and they have played like this since the youth training era, and the tacit understanding is not a problem at all. On the other hand, even if you can control it, you still lack the ability to break the balance. In the final analysis, the victory or defeat of a football game still needs to score goals. Changing the score is not based on ball possession, so no matter how strong the ball control ability is, someone needs to kick the ball into the goal to win, and this requires the existence of a superstar like Messi who can break the balance. Barcelona, which has a midfield iron triangle, and Messi, is the complete body of the Cosmos team. As it is now, Barcelona first slowly passed back in the backcourt for a while, and found that their opponents did not come up to press at all. When they exposed the gap behind them, Xavi dribbled the ball across half-court after getting the ball near the center circle. At the same time, the two fullbacks, Alves and Maxwell, are also positioned more forward, completely widening the width, trying to open up the dense defense of Malaga's midfield and expose more space. But Malaga is obviously prepared for this. Everyone knows that Barcelona's central penetration attack is powerful, so the central defense is quite dense. The wing will be handed over to you with two fullbacks and Isco and Baptista who have been recovered to participate in the defense, but even so, Malaga's side defense will not jump too high, but keep a distance from the center defense, and never give any space to the center. Just in this case, Barcelona also still completed the penetration. The 6th minute of the game, Barcelona's attack suddenly picked up speed. It was Iniesta who sounded the horn of rhythm change first. Xiaobai first slowly ran to Pedro near the top of the penalty area to meet the winger. After holding the ball from the wing, Pedro made a move to break through the bottom, then paused, and then crossed the ball to Iniesta. Iniesta opened his posture after receiving the ball, and it seemed that he was going to shoot. When Malaga's midfielder Camacho made a defensive block, he suddenly picked the ball to the left rib of the penalty area. That is, the right side of Barcelona's attack. And the moment Iniesta passed the ball, a figure slanted into the penalty area like lightning. Messi! Almost all the narrators exclaimed. In the stands at the Camp Nou, all the Barcelona fans craned their necks and held their breath after watching Messi drive into the penalty area to receive the ball. The commentator of Catalan TV seemed to be chanting a spell in the stands. Messi, 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 Messi. Messi, that the sound changes from slow to fast, as if a movement that is gradually rising, stops abruptly at the climax, and then bursts out suddenly. Messi. With the sound reaching its peak, Messi in the penalty area didn't make any fake moves after receiving the ball. He just combined two changes of direction and cut the ball to the middle, then he shoots with his right foot. Oh! The whole stadium exclaimed. Afterwards, all the Barcelona fans seemed to be controlled by a collective remote control, and they suddenly sat back in their seats, leaning back, holding their heads in their hands, and staring at their eyes, showing disbelief. The football rubbed against the post and went out of the bottom line. Oh! Messi! Almost. Barcelona's sudden change of rhythm revealed a murderous intention. Malaga's defenses are in danger. In the commentary booth, the commentator of the Catalan TV station also performed similarly to the fans in the new camp stands, but he quickly showed excitement. A little bit. It's a pity, but it doesn't matter. Malaga's defense can't defend against Barcelona's impact. they can't defend against Messi. Jean Jun's face showed worry. Messi's shot after suddenly slanting into the penalty area almost broke Malaga's goal. It seems that this game is a difficult test for Malaga. Messi is still great. Andres Iniesta's passing is just right too. Barcelona's squad is too strong. Malaga only has one yellow, and Isco can be added at most. There is no comparison at all. Hehe, I have already said that Malaga can't win at all, this time I should get rich. Gambling dog, fuck off. Roll, that when the barrage floats by, the camera's lens locked onto Ye Luo just right. Ye Luo certainly saw Barcelona's attack this time. Overall rhythm changes, the tacit connection between Iniesta and Messi, the personal ability shown by Messi's direct shot after changing direction, it all shows how strong this team is. Ye Luo took a deep breath. Such an opponent did not frighten him, instead, his fighting spirit was unprecedentedly high. Unfortunately, in terms of defense, Ye Luo could not contribute much, and Barcelona did not retreat after completing this attack. Instead, he pressed in the frontcourt, posing a tight frontcourt posture. Asenjo originally intended to pass the ball short, but in the face of the opponent's aggressive pressing situation, he can only wave his hand, said that he was going to open his feet. Malaga's players start to press forward. Barcelona's overall formation has only begun to recover. Asenjo probably looked at the positions of the offensive players. In the frontcourt, just kicked the ball forward. Baptista held down his position to grab the first point. Let's talk about the weaknesses of this Barcelona team. Skyball is definitely one of them, but Barcelona certainly has a way of defending high-altitude balls. Busquets resisted Baptista and didn't jump up to fight. He just kept interfering to prevent the opponent from receiving the ball in the first place. Under such interference, Baptista really has nothing to do. He headed a little in front of him and wanted to give the ball to Isco, but it's a little crooked. Let Isco be forced to compete with Barcelona's right-back Alves for a knife mountain ball. The end result was that the ball went off the touchline. The referee hesitated a bit and gave Malaga a throw-in, when the fullback Rosario took the kick in. He discovered that Barcelona's players had almost achieved the ultimate compression of space, and he couldn't even drive the ball directly for a while. This Barcelona team has a lot of goals, but their defense is not bad. Any championship team that can win so many championships, the defense cannot be so bad. I'm here, Ye Luo said loudly. Rosario hesitated slightly, because Ye Luo is obviously the key defensive player on Barcelona's side. Iniesta, Busquets and Alves are all around him, throwing the ball over. Ye Luo has to control the ball and at the same time fight 1 against 3. Hurry up, Ye Luo urged. Rosario gritted his teeth and threw the ball to Ye Luo. Malaga's sideline kick, Ye Luo responded. We are surrounded now, and Barcelona's siege is very efficient. Jean Jun was a little helpless and frowned. At this moment, he suddenly raised his voice. Ye Luo Luo. Fried meatballs. Beautiful. All the fans were immediately excited. I saw only on the screen that Ye Luo first stopped the ball and then pulled the ball to complete the turn, then suddenly moved the ball with his left and right feet like 2 chopsticks, and then suddenly moved forward, from Iniesta and Busquets passed through the gap. Then he smashed the ball with his right foot, dodged Alves' scramble, and moved the ball forward with a change of direction. The muscles of both legs contracted, like a cheetah that suddenly accelerated, and the speed instantly accelerated to the extreme. Hoo! Alves stretched out his hand, only to catch a gust of wind. Malaga's number 10 passed by him like a gust of wind. Overtaking by outsiders. Beautiful. Ye Luo. Speed. On the commentary, almost all the narrators brightened their eyes. The Barcelona fans in the stands of the Camp Nou were stunned for a moment. The entire stadium fell into a brief silence. Instead, the more than 2,000 visiting team fans who came to the away game immediately shouted after seeing Ye Luo rushing out from the siege of the 3. Come on! Come on! Oh! The commentator from Malaga was so excited that he stood up suddenly in the commentary booth. Oh! The super sports car from Longwa has already increased the speed to the extreme. Alves is slow in front of him like a tractor with black smoke. Ye Luo, Ye Luo, Ye Luo, Ye Luo, Ye Luo. In the chanting of the narrator, Ye Luo took the first step to control the ball on the edge of the penalty area, and now Peak is standing in front of him. Peak turned his body slightly. Of course he knew the threat of Ye Luo's inward cut, so his posture focused on preventing Ye Luo's inward cut. Sure enough, Ye Luo didn't cut inside, but smashed the ball with his right foot to the bottom line. Seeing this, Peak breathed a sigh of relief. At the bottom line, even if Ye Luo passes the ball, the threat will not be too great because there are not many people in Malaga to follow. Ye Luo's speed was too fast. Peak immediately turned around, ready to chase Ye Luo down to the bottom, looking for an opportunity to complete the steal. However, at the moment when he just turned around, Ye Luo smashed the ball with his left foot and changed direction. Peak was shocked. He didn't expect Ye Luo's change of direction to be so fast. Ye Luo. Beautiful. Peak is like a wooden stake in front of him. The narrator exclaimed. Mascherano quickly make up defense over, and Ye Luo immediately shot angrily after cutting into the middle. Mascherano blocked the shovel and almost tore the anus. The football bounced off his ankle and flew out of the baseline. There were bursts of inhalation sounds at the Camp Nou stadium. Dangerous. Mascherano, the key block. The commentator of Catalunya TV raised his heart. Ye Luo is too dangerous, we must be careful with him. On the TV screen, the lens of the camera showed many fans in the stands who were frightened. Ye Luo's operation shocked the audience. Nearly. Zhang Jun was also regretting, but this round of offense is really beautiful. Ye Luo's personal ability is fully reflected. After breaking through the encirclement of 3 people, he dribbled the ball into the penalty area, and then passed Peak to complete the shot. If Javier Mascherano hadn't been smart enough to block the ball regardless of the anus, Valdez would have been really hard to handle the ball. Andres, the narrator of Kobe Radio, was also amazed by Ye Luo's performance this time. After Messi completed a very threatening attack, Ye Luo immediately responded. Could this game evolve into a duel between two geniuses? For neutral fans, they don't want to see Barcelona score first and then start their lethargic possession to kill the game time. Such a game is really a bit too ugly. No one likes to watch the backcourt slow down. What everyone wants to see is the scene of passionate confrontation. Therefore, Andres' expectation is also the hope of many neutral fans. Malaga wins a corner, soon. The Barcelona players whimpered back to the penalty area to participate in the defense. As for Malaga, there are 2 central defenders, 2 midfielders Juanito and Fernando with a height of more than 180 centimeters, and the Brazilian beast Baptista with a height of 180 centimeters, and a player whose actual height exceeds 180 centimeters. Ye Luo. On the corner kick attack, Malaga invested a full 6 players. Grasping the set ball is also an important offensive plan formulated by the Malaga coaching staff before the game. Originally, a weak team played against a strong team, and corner kicks and free kicks in the frontcourt were all opportunities to make good use of. In addition, in terms of height, Malaga has an advantage over Barcelona, so for opportunities like corner kicks, Malaga will of course focus on rehearsals and make good use of them. It was Isco who took the corner kick. He placed the football, took a few steps back, then looked towards the penalty area, then raised his right hand and stretched out 2 fingers. This is the signal set in the corner kick training a few days before the game, so after seeing Isco's signal, Malaga's players in the penalty area all went to the back to ambush. Malaga's offensive players are all at the back point. There are really many people in this area. That the commentator's words fell. I saw Isco start to run. The Malaga players in the penalty area also started their respective moves. Some rush forward, and some prepare to make a detour behind. And in the process, Ye Luo used a passage covered by his teammates. From the back point, he ran diagonally to the top of the arc in the penalty area. At the same time, Isco also kicked the ball out. The football didn't fly into the wicket where there were the most numbers, instead, fly outward. The height is not high either, the highest point is almost the waist-high position. It fell to the line of the restricted area arc. Before this, because Malaga added 6 big men behind the penalty area, so everyone thought that Isco would send the ball to this area and let Malaga's big and tall guys complete the header. Who would have thought that his kick was to the outside? In the restricted area, the eyes of Barcelona's defensive players moved to the direction of the football flight, and their bodies paused. The next moment, almost all the defensive players stared, and the reactions were faster, such as Alves, Mascherano Noah, and the others had already panicked and pushed forward, because in their eyes, the trajectory of the football flight and the running direction of Malaga number 10 are about to intersect on the penalty area line. Running, Ye Luo was already adjusting his pace. Football falls from the sky. Ye Luo took the last step. His body was like a drawn bow. The power of the muscles is transmitted to the instep of the right foot from everywhere. Yellow. In the exclamation of the narrator. Like a whip, Ye Luo's right foot hit the outside of the football that fell from the sky. Boom. The clear voice suppressed all the sounds at the new camp. The football suddenly changed direction, turned into a meteor and rushed to the front goal. Alves jumped up instinctively, but the football had already flown past his ears. The vibration of the air driven by the high-speed flying football exploded in the ears, a sonic boom like a jet fighter crossing the sound barrier. Boom. Boom. The football slammed into the lower edge of the crossbar. After bouncing off the goal, he jumped up again, hit the net. At this moment, the Camp Nou fell into a deathly silence. Valdez stood where he was, completely frozen. There was chaos in the restricted area, and all his original attention was in the small restricted area. When he found that Ye Luo suddenly ran near the penalty area line, it was too late to react. If Ye Luo chose to stop the ball and then shoot, he still had time to react. But Ye Luo volleyed directly. The ball was played at an extremely fast speed, almost in the blink of an eye. The football had already hit the lower edge of the crossbar and bounced into the goal. Goal! Ye Luo! Ye Luo! Burst shot in the air. World wave. Brilliant. 1-0. 1-0. Ye Luo helped Malaga to score the first goal. Barcelona, which is playing at home, is behind. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that it was Malaga who scored the first goal? On the commentary, many commentators took the lead in reflecting. They chanted goals. Malaga fans also jumped from their seats, waving scarves, jumping and cheering in the stands. Subsequently, the fans in the stands of Camp Nou just woke up like a dream. Sharp boos immediately resounded throughout the stadium, completely suppressing the voices of the away fans. However, it couldn't stop the Malaga players from celebrating. Ye Luo stretched his arms, laughed and rushed towards the corner flag area, clenching his fists tightly. The veins on his neck bulged. After running to the corner flag area, he kicked over the corner flag inserted at the intersection of the baseline and the sideline, roaring and celebrating the goal with Isco. Soon, Malaga's other players also rushed up. In this world-renowned stadium, the little people from Malaga played wild to their heart's content. There are some minor problems in Chapter 1, which has been modified for a long time. Chapter 3 is here. Chapter 1 is almost 26,000 words. Chapter 3, and Chapter, is also, which adds up to just, Hands on the keyboard are going to cramp. Take a rest first, and catch up with tomorrow's manuscripts in the afternoon. End of this chapter. Chapter 67 Macy Corridor, Ye Luo who never gives up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Beautiful. He volleys straight from the corner. It's brilliant. Brilliant. In a barrage of sound, Zhang Jun was also full of praise. It's really a wonderful corner kick. Malaga is much bigger. When everyone thought that Isco's ball would be sent to the back point, the Malaga players gave Ye Luo a run. A channel to go to the open space to complete the shot. However, this also depends on Ye Luo's own strong shooting ability, so that he can volley directly without stopping the ball and can hit the target so crisply and accurately. It's just too difficult. In the commentary booth, Andres, the commentator of Corb Radio, also praised Yellow's goal again and again. A beautiful goal. Such a goal reminds me of Zidane's wonderful volley in the Champions League final. If the league is over and let me vote for the best goal of the season, maybe I will vote for this goal. In the midst of boos, the commentator of the Catalan TV station looked a little ugly, but he quickly said loudly, there is really no way to concede such a goal. The opponent made a high-quality shot, but it's okay. There are less than 10 minutes in the game. For Barcelona, it is just a conceded goal. That's all. It's no big deal. That's right. It's just a conceded goal. We can get it back. Come on. In front of the TV, countless Barcelona fans also said loudly, on the edge of the field, Malaga's coaching staff was wildly celebrating a goal. On the contrary, Guardiola seemed very calm. Although Guardiola shook his head again and again after losing the ball, he did not show much anger. In fact, when he saw Malaga's 6 tall men over 1.8 meters huddling together behind the penalty area, he knew that the opponent was definitely going to make trouble. But this kind of corner kick tactic is sudden and concealed, and you can't guess how the opponent will move. Otherwise, weak teams will rehearse corner kicks and frontcourt set-piece tactics when facing strong teams, because this can greatly bridge the technical gap between weak teams and strong teams. Not to mention, it is true that the Barcelona players cannot be blamed for this conceded goal. Ye Luo's sudden movement, coupled with the cover of other Malaga players, gave him the opportunity to shoot at the penalty area line. But if Ye Luo stopped the ball and shot again, Barcelona's players must have time to make up for it. Defense, but he didn't stop the ball, but just raised his foot and shot. This difficulty is too high, scored such a difficult world wave. This way of conceding the ball really made Guardiola unable to say anything, and he doesn't have to do anything, because the Barcelona team is very mature, and their players know how to deal with the game when they lose the ball first. In the box at the new camp, Bosque looked up at the TV screen in the box that was replaying Ye Luo's goal from all angles over and over again. A surprised look appeared on his face. "He's a genius, isn't he?" Bosque turned his head and said to his assistant Grande. "That's true, but Mr. Chairman didn't take action." Grande said, spreading his hands. He called Villar, the president of the Spanish Football Association, but the other party said that the Spanish Football Association did not have any plans for Ye Luo. Bosque waved his hand indifferently. "It doesn't matter, we can take our time, as long as he hasn't played for the Dragon Country national team, we still have a chance." Bosque looked to the pitch. "We need to update and keep the team hungry for glory." Grande nodded approvingly. After winning the World Cup, the players of the Spanish national team looked a lot lazy during the game. This is probably the so-called championship disease. They got top honors. Naturally, the desire for honor will decline. Human nature. "He may be a historic player," Grande said, "but there are enough young talents in Spain." "No, it's different." The old coach Bosque thought for a while and said, "He feels different to me." "Feel?" "That's right." Bosque took a deep breath. "He may be the kind of person who can match Maradona." Grande gasped, "Comparable to Maradona? This is too exaggerated, isn't it? Is this old man out of his mind?" On the field, the Barcelona players had already put the ball under their feet, looking normal, waiting for the referee to blow the whistle to restart the game. Ye Luo's goal is indeed wonderful, but it is impossible for Barcelona players to have mentality such as shock, unbelievable and fear. If so, how could this team win the La Liga champion and the Champions League or something? Just drop the ball, so normal. If it breaks the defense because of a missed ball, that can still be called the universe team. So when Malaga's players happily returned to their own half, all they saw was the calm expression of Barcelona's players. Ye Luo looked at Messi. It's a pity that the other party was talking to Villa and didn't look at him. Ye Luo quickly ran back to his own half. He knew that the real test of the next game had just begun. Ye Luo guessed right. After the game restarted, Barcelona launched a crazy attack. The offensive like a tsunami continued to hit Malaga's defense. Every attack seems to be infinitely close to the goal. Villa grabbed the goal. Oh, Malaga escaped. Iniesta stopped and passed, volleyed with his left foot. Asenjo's sharp attack. Beautiful. Messi. 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 Messi's shot. It's a pass. Oh. Pedro. The shovel shot from the back point was actually high. Just by listening to the voices of the commentators, you can know how fierce Barcelona's offense is. Sidelines, Pellegrini looked dignified. He has already begun to see some players holding their knees and panting after finishing the defense. Only 10 minutes have passed in the first half. Such a passive defense consumes too much energy. After conceding the ball, Barcelona has been onslaught for 10 minutes. Their offensive is like a cannon that keeps firing, and Malaga's defense line is like a city wall bombarded by solid shells, bricks, rammed earth, stones and other materials that make up the city wall are being blasted into powder, and the city wall has become pitted as a result. as if waiting for the bombardment of the last shell to completely penetrate the dilapidated city. Wall, this is the difference in strength. Pellegrini frowned. He looked at Ye Luo. Ye Luo also worked very hard, he also participated in the defense of the backcourt. No way, who made Barcelona's offensive so fierce? Ye Luo stayed in the front court and couldn't get the ball at all, so he simply came back to defend, but this way, Malaga's counterattack was completely gone. Just now, Messi got a pass from Busquets on the right. He first changed direction and went outside, then dunked with his right foot, dialed the ball with his left foot, and changed to cut in. Fullback Fernando and midfielder Juanito were cut by him at once, and Camacho, who was assisting in the defense, didn't dare to jump directly, worried that he would be passed, so he had to fight and retreat. Messi, on the other hand, keeps dribbling the ball along the penalty area line to the middle. When Camacho felt something was wrong, Messi has already begun to adjust his pace. He's going to shoot. Camacho was shocked. Just now, a figure is faster than him. Yellow. The narrator exclaimed. Ye Luo slides the shovel, block it. However, Messi shot with his left foot, barely passing Ye Luo's feet. The football first vacated to a height of only about 1 meter above the ground, then quickly fell, flying towards the right post of the goal with an arc. Asenjo made a save, but this ball is too tricky. The football flew into the goal against the inner edge of the post. Malaga players froze in place. Ye Luo on the grass patted the grass hard. Only one step away, just one step away. Ye Luo scratched his hair regretfully. When Messi chose to break through, he had a premonition that something was wrong, especially when seeing Camacho fighting and retreating. Ye Luo knew that Messi would choose to shoot by himself. This route is Messi's best scoring route, Macy's corridor, so he sprang into action, sliding the block as Messi shot, but after all, it was still a step late. Even though Ye Luo was mentally prepared for Messi's pace, the opponent's pace was still too fast. This is Messi's biggest advantage. His pace is very fast. Whether it is changing direction with the ball or shooting, he can finish high-quality shots with a short leg swing. After completing the shot, Messi was shocked. When Ye Luo shoveled to block, Messi almost thought that this shot was going to be blocked by Ye Luo. When did he come back on defense? When Messi opened his arms to celebrate, his mind was full of Ye Luo's sudden shoveling. This guy's desire to win is really strong. Pep has always wanted to bring him to Camp Nou. Maybe this game will let him know. Only in a giant like Barcelona can there be enough tactical resources to support the performance of superstars. Ye Luo stood up, looking at some stunned teammates. He clapped his hands and said loudly, "It's just a goal loss. It's no big deal. Let's enter one more of them." Ye Luo's voice was so loud that all Malaga players couldn't help but look at Ye Luo. He is the youngest player on the field right now, but Ye Luo at this moment is the backbone supporting the Malaga players to continue fighting on the court. Yes, we have Ye Luo. He didn't give up. Malaga did not give up. No one paid attention to the vignette that took place in Malaga's penalty area, because now all eyes are on the celebrating Barcelona players. Camp Nou is boiling. Messi. Messi. Messi, that the whole audience is chanting. Before the game starts, who would have thought that Barcelona would concede the ball first? After holding back for 10 minutes, Camp Nou finally broke out. Look. This is Barcelona. This is Messi. So what if you lose the ball first? We can get 1, 2, 3. The Barcelona fans thought happily. They were jumping in the stands, cheering, chanting Messi's name. Messi, Villa, Pedro, the trident they possess shocked Europe. Messi's goal ignited the passion of this stadium. Beautiful. Beautiful. Messi's shot from the wing. A shot from 3 people in a row. The football got into the dead corner. This is a typical Messi goal. Macy's corridor strikes again. The narrators were chanting. 10 minutes after conceding the ball, Barcelona equalized the score. The strong offensive power shown by Barcelona at home has convinced many people. Some of the twists and turns of this game may end there. After being equalized, can Malaga still have the morale to resist such an opponent? Pellegrini is indeed worried about the morale of Malaga, but he saw that Ye Luo was encouraging his teammates, and the frustration and helplessness on the faces of the Malaga players gradually disappeared. He breathed a sigh of relief and sat back on the coach's bench, because as a head coach, in such a game, he actually has nothing else to do. Malaga's hard power lies here. And also put on the defensive counterattack posture of the three midfielders, the adjustments that can be made are quite limited. There are no substitutions on the bench that allow Pellegrini to make adjustments, therefore, in this case if Malaga is going to make a difference, you can only count on the performance of the stars in the team. Specifically, it all depends on Ye Luo. Messi. Malaga still conceded the ball, Zhang Jun said regretfully. Barcelona is still too strong. Malaga has Ye Luo, but Barcelona has a strong team. Ye Luo is still far behind Messi in terms of personal strength. At the same time, in terms of the team as a whole, Malaga is also far away. Not as good as Barcelona. The result of this game so far is actually not too surprising. Many Dragon Kingdom fans were shaking their heads. Forget it, I don't care if Malaga can win or not, as long as Ye Luo scores one more. Yes. One more. I'm a Barcelona fan, to be honest I'm very happy now. Barcelona equalized, Ye Luo scored. With this loss, Malaga are 2 points away from the top 4. It's okay, there are still 9 league games to come. That the comments of the Dragon Kingdom fans can explain the problem very well. Everyone thinks Malaga after being equalized, the possibility that they want to exceed the score again in the next game is already very small. This means that Barcelona has a high probability of winning. After all, in this stadium, Barcelona has not lost this season. Barcelona won. Many media people, commentators, and fans think so, but Ye Luo, who was waiting for the kickoff with the ball under his feet, disagreed. Wait for the referee to blow the whistle to restart the game. Ye Luo immediately kicked the ball back, then run diagonally forward. The Barcelona players all press forward, except Busquets. When he saw Ye Luo was pressing forward, he stuck up and followed Ye Luo closely, and right now, Isco, who received the ball in the backcourt, picked the ball in the direction of Ye Luo's running. End of this chapter. Chapter 68. Strolling in the garden, spirits on the pitch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course Busquets knew the danger of Ye Luo, so he didn't plan to get more entangled with Ye Luo, but put his hands on Ye Luo's shoulders, and once Ye Luo had the possibility of breaking through, he would immediately foul without hesitation. The referee has already put the whistle in his mouth. As long as Ye Luo fell to the ground at this time, he would call a foul and give Malaga a free kick in the right position of the midfield. Ye Luo also felt the pressure behind him. He stared at the flying football, then leaned back suddenly, and then accelerated forward suddenly. This time he broke free from Busquets' hugging defense. This kind of little trick is very useful. This is the game experience that Ye Luo summed up in the virtual arena and countless confrontations with Real Madrid. For a player, the peak period is often at the age of 27, 8 or 9, because at this time, the physical condition of the players has not declined much and is still at its peak, and the game experience is already quite rich. Experience is sometimes almost as important as body and technology on the football field. Seeing Ye Luo's actions, the referee also hesitated, because Ye Luo leaned back, his arms were raised a little, but not much, and the important thing is that Busquets' arm movements are much more than Ye Luo's. If you want to call Ye Luo a foul, does that mean Busquets has to be called for a foul first? So the referee hesitated for a while and decided not to blow the whistle to maintain the smoothness of the game. Busquets was about to fall to the ground covering his face. This time it wasn't acting, and he didn't take the opportunity to observe the referee through his fingers, because it really hurts. He was pressing his center of gravity, and his whole body was almost hanging on Ye Luo's body, but Ye Luo suddenly leaned back. The shoulder slammed into his nose. This caught Busquets completely off guard. He didn't expect Ye Luo, a young man, to be able to do this kind of old-fashioned tricks, which made him, this old-fashioned stick, suffer a lot, but the ear did not hear the referee's whistle. Enduring the pain, he gritted his teeth and chased after Ye Luo fiercely, but he lost the opportunity to entangle Ye Luo, and it would be difficult to chase him back. A sense of powerlessness ignited in Busquets' heart. He has the feeling of facing his teammate Messi on the training ground. Do not. This kid is faster than Messi. It's hard to imagine a player of this height is as flexible as a small man like Messi. Busquets gritted his teeth and chased forward. Finally, he saw Ye Luo slowing down. I was just overjoyed, seeing Ye Luo suddenly speeding up again, This rhythm change almost made Busquets almost lose his breath. Ye Luo suddenly slowed down when facing Mascherano's front header, and then accelerated again, using rhythm changes to sway Mascherano's defense, when he roared into the penalty area with the ball. In the stands of the Camp Nou, many fans left and stretched their necks to watch the stadium. Ye Luo entered the restricted area. This is the most dangerous signal. At this time, Barcelona's in the penalty area like a formidable enemy. Fortunately, several defenders were there, and Busquets also ran back to the penalty area in time, and Mascherano returned to the penalty area in time to stand in a key position after being shaken away. Ye Luo, who entered the penalty area, stopped suddenly and controlled the ball under his feet. But at this time, no Barcelona player dared to grab it recklessly. Pique stood in front of Ye Luo. He lowered his weight and kept it at an arm's length, sealed Ye Luo's possible breakthrough route. Meanwhile Mascherano and Busquets also quickly approached. Yellow, Alves and Maxwell are also already approaching. Sidelines, Guardiola's heart that had raised his throat was also put back in his stomach. Surrounded by 5 people, what else can Ye Luo do? Baptista is too slow, he can't even beat Busquets, so nothing to worry about. In Barcelona's restricted area, Barca have 5 defenders who are closing the circle. Ye Luo raised his right foot, his ankle was shaking from side to side, and the range of fake movements was not large. Want to break through? As long as I stand still, it doesn't matter how you rush, I'm an arm's length away from you, and I can keep up with you wherever you go. In this case, can you still shoot directly? I have 5 teammates, can you second me? Fuck, did you really ejaculate? Pique was startled suddenly, and his crotch felt cold. Ye Luo didn't know that the opponent in front of him had so many thoughts. After he brought the ball into the penalty area, he found that the space to continue to advance was almost gone, and even if he forcibly breaks through the bottom line, he can't complete a high-quality shot. He has to wait for his teammates to come up to support. Sometimes you're too fast, that's the trouble. However, after realizing that his teammates hadn't caught up yet and his opponents were about to surround him, Ye Luo immediately gave up his plan to wait for his teammates, and prepared to continue to break through and try to attack the goal. Lift your right foot, feint, and watch. Then, out of the corner of Ye Luo's eyes, he saw Pique slightly spread legs. Suddenly the toe poked the ball out. This action is too subtle, no one expected that Ye Luo would suddenly handle the ball like this. The football passed between Pique's legs that were not too wide open, stuck to the turf, and suddenly drilled towards the lower left corner of the goal. Valdez was really nervous when he saw Ye Luo break into the penalty area, but after the opponent was surrounded by his teammates in the defense, he was not so worried. Ye Luo is facing a very complete defense system. Barcelona's defenders are all back, and although Malaga's offensive players are also pushing forward, they want to meet Ye Luo, but at the same time, Barcelona's players are also returning to defense. In this situation, no matter how powerful Ye Luo is, it is also difficult to make a difference. But right now, he suddenly felt bad. He didn't see the movement of Ye Luo's toe poking, because his sight was blocked by Pique. But the football suddenly got out from between Pique's legs, which made him startled, because this ball is fast and the angle is very tricky. He reacted immediately and swooped to his left. It's just that he was still one step slower. The fingertips rubbed the ball slightly, but it didn't change the trajectory of the football much. The football stuck to the turf, hit the inner edge of the far post and bounced into the goal. Everything happened between lightning and flint. It is not easy for Valdez to make saves. Almost everyone was stunned. The entire Camp Nou stadium seemed to be frozen at this moment. Everyone is staring at the football spinning inside the goal. Then they couldn't help looking at the big screen at the scene. Not many people saw how the ball suddenly entered Barcelona's goal. The commentators also looked at the computer screens on their commentary seats, but they still haven't forgotten their responsibilities. Goal. The goal went into Malaga and the score was exceeded again. Unbelievable. Less than a minute after conceding the ball, Malaga responded again. 1-2. Barcelona are behind at home again. This is a good game. Barcelona just scored a goal to equalize the score, and Malaga just scored one when they looked back. Ye Luo's goal is so crucial. He used it to stabilize the game at the first time. The morale of the team. This goal gave Malaga players endless spiritual strength. The battle is not over yet. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see how this goal is scored. Oh, It's beautiful, Ye Luo shot coldly with his toes, and Peak looked too clumsy in front of Ye Luo. This goal reminds me of Ronaldinho. The narrators were amazed. The replay of the TV screen completely showed the whole process of the goal. Ye Luo raised his right foot, as if he was going to use a feint to shake Peak away to complete the breakthrough. However, the next second, he suddenly poked his toe, like thunder on the ground. The football suddenly passed between Peak's legs and entered the goal from a dead corner. Easy, freehand. Leisurely stroll. The picture of this goal is constantly replayed, from every angle, every camera shot, except for the supporters of Barcelona. All the fans, including the neutral fans who were watching the game, were mesmerized. He's a genie on the football field. In the press box, a local Spanish reporter said, some Catalan journalists were silent, because the goal reminded them of a person, the football elf who once belonged to this stadium. On the internet of Dragon Kingdom, the fans are also mesmerized. The video and GIF of this goal were immediately circulated on various forums and websites. Fans reprinted and spread it one after another. A football boy from the Dragon Kingdom, walking around in Barcelona's penalty area, lifting weights lightly. Facing 5 people surrounded by defense, sent the ball into the opponent's goal with a very imaginative action. This kind of calmness and romance of thousands of troops take the general's head from it. It's dazzling. I don't know, at this moment, how many people have become the fans of this Dragon Country boy. In Malaga, those local fans who couldn't travel with the team gathered in bars all over Malaga. After watching Yellow put the ball into Barcelona's goal in unexpected fashion, putting Malaga over the score again, the whole of Malaga is boiling. Huge cheers echoed through the city. Yellow. Long live. That everyone looked up to the sky and screamed, raised their arms and shouted, cheered and raised their glasses to celebrate. After the goal, Ye Luo opened his arms and stood on the spot with a smile on his face to celebrate. He was surrounded by Barcelona's players. However, at this moment, the Barcelona players can no longer feel as calm as before. They just scored a goal. The results come back. Ye Luo directly used this method to exceed the score again, against such an opponent. There was helplessness on the faces of the Barcelona players and a hint of panic. Guardiola on the sidelines touched his shiny forehead and frowned. The timing and method of conceding the ball had a huge blow to the morale of the team, and seeing Malaga conceding the ball, morale plummeted, and Barcelona only needed to continue to attack to completely defeat the opponent. Ye Luo's goal brought Malaga's morale back to the top. Under this situation, it's not easy for Barcelona to score goals, and Ye Luo's threat is too great. Even if he had emphasized the defense against Ye Luo before, but I'm afraid that's not enough. Thought here. Guardiola called Mascherano over. End of this chapter. Chapter 69. They have a leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mascherano returned to the court with a somewhat eccentric look on his face. What did Pep say? Asked Busquets. He said. Just let me follow Ye Luo every step of the way. Are you sure you are staying close? Busquets was also obviously taken aback. He did say that, Mascherano said, taking a deep breath. That's the exchange tactic. Busquets said somewhat inconceivably. The exchange tactic is not uncommon. Many teams will use this tactic when dealing with the opponent's core players, but who would have thought that one day, Barcelona would adopt such a strategy? But you are about to go forward. What about your position? Busquets said with some headaches. Pep told me not to follow halfway, and he told us to continue to attack with the ball, not to give the opponent too much possession of the ball, especially not to let the football fall to Ye Luo's feet. Mascherano said. Understood. Busquets nodded, and soon, Guardiola's latest adjustment spread throughout the audience. Ye Luo found a shadow beside him. Mascherano was by his side every step of the way, and Yellow ran from left to right and from right to left in the frontcourt, speeding up and taking a walk. Mascherano is no more than 1 meter away from him. Ye Luo frowned slightly. The opponent actually sent a defensive player to stick to him. Play exchange. Ye Luo was thoughtful. He looked at Mascherano with a strange look on his face. The virtual arena is really magical. When he played against teams like Real Madrid and Valencia, sometimes similar scenes did appear. It means that the other party adopts a sub-exchange strategy to offset its own threat. Of course, Ye Luo has experience in this. Isn't it just that having one more person around him increases the pressure of receiving the ball? For Ye Luo, he had encountered similar scenes many times. But this is the first time in the real field. This may be because he only played 15 games in La Liga, with too little experience in the game, who can imagine? The guy in front of him is a young monster who plays 2 high-intensity games every day. In the past 2 months, that is more than 130 games. Ordinary young players, even if they play the main force from the beginning, can only play about games a season at most. To reach the experience value of Ye Luo, it will take at least 3 seasons, so. Mascherano thought that his personal marking would cause some troubles for a young man like Ye Luo, but how could he have imagined that the guy in front of him was actually an old fritter? Mascherano smiled from the bottom of his heart when he saw Ye Luo walking slowly in the front court with his waist in his hands after running several times in a row but couldn't get rid of it. Young people are just not patient enough, and this time, Barcelona also almost controlled the situation of the game. Although Barcelona seemed a little flustered after losing the ball, their strong control, including control and psychological control on the court, still made Malaga have to shrink back to defend. Barcelona also launched wave after wave of attacks. The cheers from the stands at the Camp Nou rose from wave to wave. In the commentary booth, the Catalan commentator raised his arms and shouted, "This is Barcelona. This is our football. We still have time, beat them. Come on. Barcelona. Come on. Messi." Barcelona's offensive is like a wave, and the Cosmos team playing at home is really terrifying. Although they are 1 goal behind, but looking at the current offensive momentum of Barcelona, it is not surprising that they equalized the score. Now the stadium is completely occupied by Barcelona. They are very stable. Even if they are outscored again, their performance has not been affected. This is the terrible thing about a championship-level team. Their control is too strong. Malaga was forced to shrink the defense. Isco and Baptista both returned to the penalty area. Ye Luo lacked support and was isolated. Facing Barcelona, which is playing at home, it is indeed doubtful whether Malaga can hold on. On the scene, Barcelona firmly controlled the rhythm. For a while, many commentators are not very optimistic about Malaga, because under an offensive like Barcelona's, Malaga's defense will be crushed sooner or later, and they have almost no counterattacks. Ye Luo seems to have lost the support of the backcourt like a broken kite, and several high-altitude balls from the backcourt were all over Ye Luo's head jointly by Mascherano and Busquets. Gone. If you can't even get the ball, how can you counterattack? As Barcelona's advantages continue to accumulate, their offensive is also getting more and more violent. Game number 303 minutes, after Messi got the ball from the right, he played a 1-2 with Iniesta and then entered the penalty area to receive the ball. He passed the ball with his left foot and stuffed it under Villa's feet. The Spanish center-forward catches the ball with his right foot and shoots with his left foot. The football passed over the fingertips of goalkeeper Asenjo, rubbed the post and crossed the baseline. Fans at the Camp Nou are already celebrating. After discovering that the football went wide, the whole stadium let out a regrettable gasp. Cheers and applause ensued. Although the ball was not scored, but it is also enough to prove how much Barcelona's offensive threat is. All Malaga fans were shocked into a cold sweat. Keep kicking like this. Getting scored by Barcelona is a matter of time. The powerful strength of Barcelona, which sits at home, was fully demonstrated in this series of attacks. At last, under the continuous crazy attack, game number 308 minutes, Barcelona scored. Villa. David Villa. 2-2. Barcelona, who are playing at home, evened the score again. Before the first half was over, the two sides had already contributed 4 goals. Beautiful pass, wonderful shot, Iniesta's through ball, and the Malaga players were almost all attracted by Messi in the penalty area at that moment, which gave Villa great chance to kick and shoot from inside the box. Villa's calm push in the penalty area defended the dignity of Barcelona in his own home field. In the passionate roar of the narrator, Spanish center Villa clenched his fists and ran wildly to celebrate. The whole stadium was cheering and shouting David Villa's name. The entire Camp Nou stadium fell into madness. All Barcelona fans got up from their seats, waving the towel in his hand, cheering and jumping for joy. In the front stands, there was the hysterical roar of Barcelona. Salute to the champions. The rednecks of Malaga. Kneel down. Malaga. We are Barcelona. Oh 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 oh. We are Barcelona. We are so good and we play the best football in the world. Oh 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 oh, hillbillies of Malaga, get down on your knees and salute the champions. Kneel, to the champions salute to Barcelona. Oh oh oh, we're Barcelona, that the song of humiliating the opponent sounded. This song is usually sung to Real Madrid who come to this stadium. Generally speaking, Barcelona fans only see Real Madrid as an opponent. Now, however, Real Madrid's name has been changed to Malaga. It can be seen that the Barcelona fans also felt the threat from Malaga at this time. If Barcelona loses this game, and Malaga loses to Real Madrid, isn't that the first place to lose the top spot before the Spanish national derby? Although it is said that playing Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, Barcelona from top to bottom, from players to fans, will not admit it, and will confidently express that they can win. But after all, it's safer to go to the enemy's territory with a bit of a lead. Now that the first half is not over, Barcelona equalized the score again, which made the Barcelona fans who had been holding back for almost half of the game take a good breath of anger. Not just that, Ye Luo was also unlucky. As the core of Malaga, he is of course the target of being attacked. Ouch, you guys from Dragon Kingdom, you can never compare to Leo Messi. Oh oh oh, you can never compare to Leo Messi. That the lyrics of the stadium chorus are very simple and straightforward. This song, it was originally a must-have track for Camp Nou to greet Cristiano Ronaldo. As a result, it was placed on Ye Luo's body now. The Camp Nou fans are singing Ye Luo is not as good as Leo Messi. Jean Jun seemed a little excited when he heard this song, because, this is the opponent's fans comparing Ye Luo to Messi. In his opinion, this undoubtedly elevates Ye Luo's status, but now Ye Luo doesn't think so, because he saw the team's morale collapse. The players showed helplessness on their faces. Many players are still holding their knees and panting. The visiting fans were also silent. They were sitting in their seats. Some of them were covering their faces, and they couldn't bear to watch the next game. Opponents are celebrating, and it's amazing that your own team can play to this level. After all, the opponent is Barcelona. Many Malaga fans thought, just now, they saw Ye Luo talking loudly to his teammates. He walked up to every Malaga player and yelled, "It's Ye Luo who is encouraging the fighting spirit of the team. There is still time in the game, and we were only tied. Ye Luo hasn't given up yet. How can we just give up like this?" In the visitor stands, the fans' comments sounded, soon, not sure where to start. Yellow. Shouting Ye Luo's voice resounded through the sky. More than 2,000 fans were chanting this name. Ye Luo. Ye Luo. Ye Luo. This voice is so clear, even in the cheers of tens of thousands of Barcelona fans. It is also like a fish jumping out of the sea, flying on the sea. Cheer up. We haven't lost yet. Brother, the game is not over yet. Hand me the ball. Ye Luo grabbed each of his teammates and yelled in their ears. It's just being tied. No big deal. If we can get one of them, two, we can get the third. They are fighting for the championship, but we are going to fight for the top four. Ye Luo pointed to the Barcelona players who were celebrating. Look at them. Wouldn't it be more fulfilling to defeat such a strong enemy? Just now, he heard voices from the stands. Be your own fans. The fans haven't given up yet. Ye Luo smiled. He raised his hand. Open your fingers. Then, suddenly hammered down towards the position of the team emblem. Your voice. I hear it. Immediately, the voices of more than 2,000 fans almost overwhelmed all the voices made by the Barcelona fans at the scene. They shouted and tried their best. They know, among his team, there is one most trustworthy person who has not been knocked down by Barcelona. He is still fighting. He hasn't given up yet. Yes, we still have Ye Luo. Why should we be depressed? Why should we hang our heads? What we have is the omnipotent Ye Luo. He can score 1 goal, 2 goals, a third, the fourth. The decibels of the voice that was already shouting increased again. The on-site security personnel who separated them from the home team fans were a little confused. Now it's Barcelona who score. What are you Malagasy excited about? Brain what? On the coach's bench, Pellegrini also saw this scene. Be honest, he too despaired when Barcelona scored their second goal to level the score. The opponent's overall offense is too strong, and Malaga can only rely on one or two sporadic counterattacks. To win such a game you have to be lucky. He even started to find reasons for failure: not enough running in, too many new aids and not enough understanding. This season is just a start, next season will be the return of the king and so on. After all, being able to do this at the new camp is enough to show the potential of this team. Not this season, come again next season. Malaga has a strong enough core. But at this moment, Pellegrini saw that with Yellow's efforts, the players raised their lowered heads again. The declining morale seems to have stopped the collapse at this time. Morale is gathering again, and in the eyes of the players, the panic gradually disappears, replaced by fighting spirit. Rekindled fighting spirit. Pellegrini woke up with a start. He is suddenly blaming himself, ashamed of himself that I just started thinking about giving up. It really shouldn't be. I am the head coach of the team. Just the thoughts that rose in my mind just made Pellegrini have absurd thoughts that he is not worthy to be Ye Luo's head coach. Malaga hasn't collapsed yet, because they have a leader. Just don't give up, there is still a chance. In football, anything is possible. The moment of losing does not start from dropping the ball, but from the moment of giving up. Ye Luo pointed to the visiting team stands. See? They haven't given up yet. As players, how could we live up to the support of so many fans? Ye Luo pointed to the stands and said, the players also heard the chanting of the fans, they were moved. Fight! Fuck them to the end. Some players clenched their fists and said loudly. The morale of the entire team climbed from the bottom to the peak in an instant. I clearly wrote the title of this chapter, but when I clicked to publish it, I didn't know why it disappeared. I can only ask the editor to open the permission tomorrow and change it back. End of this chapter.